Good evening.
Hello.
Let me see if we can get Zell in Discord and do the quick run through with him.
Sounds like me. I'll be right back.
He's the reason we can't have nice things, John.
For as excited as he was about making his Dragon Archer, I was surprised he hadn't already logged into Peak.
Oh, I meant
Notice I'm here.
research.
All right, that's all I got to say.
I meant to do some research and I forgot.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, it's
Hello.
6 o'clock PST. Okay. Whew. Boy, thought it was 8 o'clock. That would have been bad.
Oh, I can kill the sound. I feel like it has been playing for quite some time now.
It has indeed.
It's been fantastic, really. It's pumping me up.
Nice.
I turned the volume down, but I've been hearing it in the background for probably a good 6 hours.
All right,
You have a problem, sir.
let's get some housekeeping out of the way real quick. I think for Cole and for Zell, you are in Roll20 for the first time, yes?
Yes.
I've been using it for a while.
Oh, okay. Then you can just ignore most of what I'm saying. Cole, for you, a couple of quick tidbits. You can see at the bottom of the screen there are names and pictures. We can use video through this service if we want to. I prefer not to, since we'll be using Discord as our primary means of communication. If you follow along with me and go into the upper right-hand corner where the cogwheel is that says My Settings, far right side of the upper right-hand corner, let me know when you're there. Oh, he's not in Roll20.
Oh, do I launch game?
Yes, please.
I'm trying to find.
Okay, so settings.
Yep, settings in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see a bunch of things here. You can change your display name if you want to. You've also got a music volume slider. But if you scroll all the way down, you will see a couple of options. Just below chat avatars, you will see player video / avatar size. You can change that from large to regular, small, or just names only. If you change it to just names only, it will maximize the amount of screen real estate you have. Since we're not using video chat, unless you really want to see other people's pictures, I would just go names only. And then below that, past the video and audio chat options, I'll need you to find the 2 drop-down boxes that say I want to broadcast to others and I want to receive from others, and make sure that both of those are in the nothing disabled category. Otherwise, sometimes Roll20 will try to pick up off of Discord and we can end up with a fun sort of like infinite loop.
Feedback.
Yeah,
Feedback.
super
Say that with
fun.
the Sega tone.
Feedback.
There you go.
I was like,
I'm here, but I'm gonna stay muted.
Cool.
I need to look at the settings and remember how to do this too.
Cool. Once you're set there, if you go them whatever color you'd like. These are
Under the names, right?
Yeah, below the names. Yep. Those will be some helpful macros. Not going to be super important for character creation tonight, but just to get you used to having those things at your disposal and seeing where they are, so that when they become important, you'll know where to find them.
Okay.
The Whisper DM is if you needed to say something to me privately that you'd rather, for role-playing reasons, the other people in the party not to see, or if you're embarrassed about something, or you just have a personal question, or you just need to let me know that, like, You have an angry poop situation. You can just whisper me. No one else sees that. It uses like the
Okay.
WoW chat macro system. You can /W anybody in the party. The 1d20 plus modifier is just a button that will prompt you with a modifier value, and that will just roll a 20-sided die plus whatever modifier you put in that box, which is like a default easy way to roll a number of skills that'll happen in the game. Multi-dice roller happens maybe once a session tops. That's if you have to roll what would be like the equivalent of a fistful of dice at the table. That will just prompt you for how many dice, type of dice, and then potential modifier. And initiative is how you'll add yourself to the turn tracker when we get to a combat scenario. Again, not important for tonight, but just so that you know what the buttons do.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
Don't believe so.
Awesome. Is everybody ready?
I think so.
We're missing
Mm.
basics, but he's done most of what we've already been through so far, so I think we'll just kind of get started. Before we do character creation, I wanted to briefly talk to you guys about sort of my experience with the game, my theory on a session 0. It's a newer development in D&D. Like, I come from a little bit of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, mostly 3rd edition. There wasn't always a session 0. I like it as a modern addition to the game. It helps all of us as players and storytellers sort of align our expectations, make sure we're all on the same page, make sure everybody understands things. So we're gonna do a little bit of talking tonight, and then a lot of character creation. So we're kind of gonna get the less than fun stuff out of the way. Table rules, I don't have a lot of them. I do ask that everybody be respectful. I don't think that's going to be a problem for us, again, because we raid together. I think everybody has a very healthy working relationship with one another. D&D is a game of infinite possibilities, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've never seen it played wrong. I have seen it played different than some people would prefer, but you have to respect those differences. So you guys are welcome to talk to each other about strategy, and if someone asks for help, like in raid, please be as helpful as you can possibly be. But if Zell decides to be a cripple in a wheelchair that has an archery ability that doesn't work, I mean, that can be as suboptimal as he wants it to be, but if that's the character he wants to play, then I don't want people telling him in combat how he should be behaving differently, or how he should be casting spells, or how he should have took the dodge action this turn. If he feels lost, I'm going to make it incumbent upon him to ask other people for advice. I don't want advice volunteered. Same raid rules, basically. Don't try to play other people's character for them. When in doubt, the only rule I really care about is don't be a dick. If you think there's any doubt that what you're doing is being a dick, then err on the side of just not doing it.
So you just want me to leave now?
Yeah. That's basically all I got in terms of rules. We're gonna go through some like metagaming and house rule options in just a second. I'd really like basics to be here for those, so I'm gonna just cheat ahead here in my checklist and see what else we can talk about.
I actually had a question about metagaming.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you care about like a lot of metagaming conversations happening?
We can talk about that now. It's a good thing as long as we both agree. If there are people in the party who really want like a deeply immersive role play experience, then I would ask people to try to hedge out as much metagaming as possible. I don't know if that's the style of gamers that we really are. But like while we're getting it all figured out, let's not immediately adopt one extreme or the other. Does anybody have a strong feeling on metagaming? Like, are they? Yeah. To clarify, metagaming means allowing information that you have or knowledge that you possess as a player to influence your in-game character's actions. So, you're running through a swamp and you see, a black siphon hole in the bottom of the swamp, and there's just, acid burned trees. John, the player, knows that this is probably the entrance to a black dragon's lair. However, the first level cleric that I'm piloting likely would not know that. So there's this sometimes a disconnect in how people play D&D, where I will, in the voice of my cleric, say, holy shit, that's a black dragon lair. Let's avoid it, or let's get acid resist gear and come back, or let's completely avoid whatever it's going to be. And some people are really put off by that. Some people really like a more, like I say, immersive RP experience where, yes, we can all exchange meaningful glances via webcams and be like, oh shit, we know what that is, but the characters still have to behave in a way that makes logical sense to the game world. I find it hard to really separate those two things. So I only have ever in most of my games asked that people don't ruin surprises and don't make assumptions about creatures and abilities. I will often homebrew my own spells and my own creatures. So a hobgoblin that may not be the same hobgoblin that we're fighting this time. So making those kinds of dangerous assumptions can really just be less than useful, or may even bite you in the ass at some point. But I think it's impossible because no one can compartmentalize that knowledge 100%. It's just not possible. So all that I would ask is that if it's a deeply important moment, or you guys realize that there's a home rule about how a teleportation circle works, but Lavender the mage doesn't know that, and he's going to go ahead with the spell anyway, like, for the sake of this big moment, let's let it happen organically. Let's not take 10 minutes in metagame, pick it apart as intelligent players. But that, like I said, at some point I think it's impossible to completely separate it. So I acknowledge that some level of metagaming is always going to happen.
I have a feeling that he just assumed what I was going to make, and I think he's probably correct.
Just try to rein it in. And the only other rule that I care about is, I think as long as everybody's having fun, we can make almost any game system or any rule set work. It's only going to be a problem if it's ruining someone else's fun. So if we get to a point, and Zell, I'm just going to keep using you as an example because you've got a lot of D&D experience. If Zell just finds himself in a situation where he really wants to inhabit the role of this character, he really wants everybody to refer to him as his in-character name, and he really wants to talk to you guys in that way, then try to not ruin his gameplay experience by calling him Zell or by calling him Max. Like, if he prefers that, we are playing this game, it's fine to call him by that name. It's fine to not metagame that pizza's almost here, or metagame can be more than just player knowledge. You can also be referring to the game world outside of the players or the player character's experience. So that's I'm long-winded. I'm sorry if I'm talking myself in circles. Just try to make sure that you're not stepping on anybody else's good time by having your own fun. Make sense?
Yeah, and also we get it. You're stalling for basics. It's all his.
A little bit, yes. So we'll go through a few other points. Actually, I've got a handout, a takeaway for today, so that you have reading material. Not quite homework, but I'm going to upload something. This is my campaign handout. Been working on it last week. Megan's helped a ton with it. But we can read through player expectations together. This is not a definitive list. It's not exhaustive. It's just a couple of quick points. The first is that with 8 players, I've never run this many PCs. I don't believe it's impossible. I just think it is going to take a concerted effort on everyone's part to be vigilant in terms of patience and attention. If one of you is playing a barbarian and your turn is as simple as I rage and I punch the guy until he stops moving, that's awesome. The next person's turn might be a little bit more elaborate. And then obviously the casters, I'm going to ask you guys to learn your spells, learn your characters, ins and outs, know that stuff before I say, Lavender, it's your turn. And then you go, I'm going to need 20 minutes to read my whole spell book. That's not going to work with 8 players. So everybody's got 7 turns before theirs to plan their actions.
Did I miss this count, by the way? I'm sorry for interrupting, but it looks like we're going to have 9 players with basics coming in.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you're counting Destiny, who's just the observer.
No,
this is something I was told to bring up, Tryon. I didn't think it was an issue, but was I on the list for the game?
You were not on my sign up.
There are 8 people here, not including Try and Destiny, not including Basics. So that would bring us to 9 if Basics comes in.
Okay, hold up. Where was the sign-up sheet? Was in this chat, right? Like that's. I swear I remember answering yes to the long-term campaign. That's why I wasn't concerned. But if you're not planning on me, I can leave.
No. I would not turn you away. I wasn't sure if this was one of those things where you wanted to just listen in, like the last one shot.
No, I was hoping
yeah,
to play,
yeah.
but I vaguely remember, like when Meg put the poll out, like, "Do you want to play in a long-term game?" I swear I clicked yes.
It's
That's why
possible that I've missed you. It doesn't matter. We're here now, and I feel like, in classic Italian American heritage, what's the difference between 8 and 9? One more, right? I feel like if it was the difference between 5 and 6, we could have a conversation, but too many is too many.
Well, I'm not sure if this is going to be accurate or predictive for our future runs, but it's always possible we might not have everyone here for every time that we're running.
That's true.
That's the nature of the game. We'll talk about scheduling when we get to the end of this conversation. But yes, it's entirely possible that like IRL is going to swallow basics up, and he might not be able to play for weeks at a time. Yeah, Zell could his other D&D campaign could be like, hey, we need to start playing every Friday night, and then we could just lose him altogether. Dax could start dating somebody who's like, hey, every other Friday night, that's my time, and then we lose Dax for 50% of the games. Like all of these things are possible. So I don't mind having more players than fewer because that limits the possibility of me having to cancel a game. I hate having to cancel a scheduled game. And usually my rule is if I'm missing more than 2 players, I like to just say, well, punt it to next week. But if we've got 9, I think we can always play with at least 6. So it seems to better to err on the side of caution because that way we'll never be so short that we've got to, cancel a game.
Speaking of, I'll put it in group coordinations, but I'm going to be out of town on September 11th.
Thank you.
You're not flying that day, are you?
Uh-oh.
I'm driving.
Okay.
So going back to the first point, with 9 players, it's just going to be important that everybody pay attention, that they sort of know the ins and the outs, that you be a little bit patient. And there's this tendency in D&D that like on the third turn of combat with bad rolls against a team of just generic vanilla goblins, your mind will wander. Not every moment of this game, unfortunately, can captivate your attention as good as the high moments will. When we're on that low turn where like you have just missed 3 turns in a row against an unarmored goblin, this is not an exciting round of combat. But there might be other people who are doing fun things or having fun. I just need you to be a little bit patient, realize that it will be over as soon as it can possibly be over, and try to avoid things like playing mobile games or turning on WoW. Because there's nothing that's going to slow the game down more than, Lav being pissed off that he just missed with the fireball and the goblin is still alive. Then it comes all the way back around to his turn and something amazing has happened in the meantime. And he looks at the board, doesn't recognize it, and goes, oh, what happened? Because then I have to take the time and re-explain the entire scenario to him. So I understand that those temptations are real and that there are going to be some times where it's impossible not to find something to distract yourself with. But if everybody works their best to try to move things along quickly, I think that's, in our best interest collectively. Okay, getting away from that, while we're still waiting for basics, I will touch on scheduling. So I think based on the poll that we put out, Friday nights looks like it's going to work good for this group. I'd like to run basically every other Friday, so 2 sessions a month, starting at 6 p.m. on Fridays, and we'll run until it's a good stopping point. I'll never shortchange it below 3 hours, but there might be nights where it runs a little bit longer because sometimes finding a good stopping point is not always easy. So if everybody's agreeable to that, I understand that real life will pop up sometimes and somebody might need to change a diaper or tuck in a kid or take a dog out or something, or just, hey, I've got an early call tomorrow, I have to bounce 30 minutes early. That's fine. But if everybody can just respect the social contract of scheduling time for the game, that's all I ask. No worries, Vendies. More sort of metagame conversation. The D&D has been discussed in many ways, in many languages, taken apart by many different people. One of my favorite interpretations of the game or descriptions of the game is done by a guy named Monty Cook, who was a game developer in the 90s and 2000s. And he described D&D as essentially taking place atop 3 pillars. Those 3 pillars are combat, exploration, and social. social interactions are how well you negotiate, sweet talk a potential informant, or negotiate out of being fined for something, or seduce a woman, or charm a man, gain followers, earn prestige. Um, those are all the social pillars of the game. Exploration is delving a dungeon, tracking a deer through a forest, spelunking down into a cave, climbing a mountain. And then combat is obviously I grab my sword and I hit stuff with it. Most games tend to try always to involve most of those three pillars. Every DM's got their own style. So my style tends to skew more heavily towards combat. There will always be something for everyone. There will always be social and exploration aspects, but just my 20 years of experience, my group is a very crunchy, numbers orientated, combat focused sort of wargaming group. So, like it or not, that's how I cut my teeth. That's where I've learned. That's where I'm most comfortable. I like elaborate combat encounters. We'll do probably more of that than we do social and exploration. If at any point you feel like you made a social butterfly character and there's not enough political intrigue for you or something, it's fine to have an aside, a separate conversation with me about making more for that. But I just wanted to be clear that I will always aim to have some of everything, but my games tend to focus mostly on combat. With the other two being a part of the game, just not the feature. The tone of the game and its setting will be more dramatic than it is comic. I think humor definitely has a place, especially in the metagame context. It's pulpy, it's adventure-y, it's going to be classic high fantasy. So high levels of magic, high levels of power, a more pulp dramatic setting. I don't necessarily like fourth wall breaking meta humor. I think those are fun campaigns to run. I just, in the setting of Pendilor that we've been working on in the one shots and that I have for this campaign in mind, I think I'll skew away from that and more towards the dramatic. I guess I can't keep stalling for basics. He's now 20 minutes late. So,
hold on.
Does anyone have a way to contact him?
We can vigorously @message him in the group chat.
Cause a car accident. So one of the things we can talk about is my style is I like to create a world. So Pendilor is one of the countries in my homebrew world of Meridian. I've been playing out of it for many, many years. It's where I'm most comfortable. So that's where we'll be playing. But what I like to do is the campaign pitch. I like to offer people a couple of options. I like to take players and give them, a few choices, a couple of stories that I would like to tell, and then let you guys pick which of those stories that I want to tell you feel like you'd be most interested in playing. So we can talk about picking what campaign we want to run next, or we can talk about like house rules and some other metagame stuff. What would you guys like to do?
I'm just gonna go with the majority because I've had fun with what you've done so far with the one shots and your world.
I know we just talked about not losing track, but I was trying to get Basics' attention and then I lost what you were saying in the last 5 seconds. So
that's okay. I'm gonna link a video in our Dungeons and Dragons Discord here, and you'll watch that video and we'll talk after that.
I love video time.
Wait, watch the video?
Watch the video and we'll talk on it.
I think it would be even more fun to try and play Necromancer during that one.
I think you should, because you can start off in jail.
Probably end up in jail too.
Is everybody finished?
Always be in jail.
Yeah.
Forever jailed.
So our
The
first
jailer?
bit of cooperative storytelling and our first teamwork exercise is deciding which of those two stories you'd rather play.
I'm partial to one.
So, do you think one would have more like warfare travel involved?
Say that again.
Do you think campaign one would have more like ship travel involved, like ship to ship combat and stuff like
Probably so. Yeah.
that? Okay, my vote is
One's-
for number one.
The reason I think the one is going to have a lot more combat, where two is probably going to have a little bit more social, because we're still going to be on the same like continent. Where one, we're not going to be meeting a whole lot of like new people, I don't think, because it just rose out of the sea. So I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of people that we would normally like normal people that be like, hey, there's a town, haha, let's all go have a chat.
That's what you think.
That's what I think, but you get what I'm getting at though.
I mean, I wouldn't try and make assumptions about what we will and will not encounter
Right.
on that.
I gotcha. I know.
Trick story.
I
They're
gotcha.
both Cthulhu. You're dead.
No!
Got him.
I kind of like the idea of one, like the whole cataclysmic thing.
I don't know. Cataclysm was a terrible expansion.
True.
Well, that's why John's gonna do it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like what has started in chat. I guess just type 1 or 2. 1 being the rising landmass. 2 being the...
which chat? I'm sorry.
Sorry, in Roll20.
Ah, no.
Oh, jeez, I had to like pull that up. Okay.
You have to
way
fix
to ride that.
Dax.
Dax is doing both.
What if we met somewhere in between?
Fair enough.
Haven't heard from Basics or X yet.
Basics responded in Discord.
I couldn't
no,
log
they
in.
did.
Sorry, I was having some troubles. I'm in now.
You're gonna have some troubles.
Did I
Like,
just hear
low-key,
Basics'
though.
voice?
Low key though, Basics. Are you doing alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. I'm sorry that I agitated you.
Had a bad day again.
So X and Basics, what do you guys think?
They're both awfully mysterious. I don't know what to choose. 'Cause I'm
I
trying
need
to choose.
I need 1 more vote for 1 or 2 more votes for 2, and then we push. Like, because Dax basically abstained, and I've got 4 votes for campaign 1.
Go with 1.
Okay. By majority rule, then, the first campaign trailer will be the campaign we're going to be doing.
Woohoo!
But at
That's
least
the
I won't
one
end up
I
in jail.
wanted.
Oh, shut up, Dax.
Clearly, you can tell by the way I voted.
That's bullshit, and you know it.
Hey, which one did I actually mention that I
I
wanted
guess
to do?
island sinking.
See, he's playing both sides, so he always comes out on top.
Yeah, it's hard to lose.
Well, that is my fit. Never mind.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
oh my.
That's
All right.
enough of that.
So that's decided. We talked about some sort of metagame stuff before Basics. I don't think any of it's super relevant. We talked about Fridays at 6, alternating every other being the ideal schedule. So we'll do character creation tonight, and then if everybody's game for it, September 4th will be session 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
So much D&D in 3 weeks.
yes. Let's do it.
Okay. So with 9 players,
9.
yeah, we had a happy accident. I thought I was having triplets. It turns out it was quadruplets.
Oh boy.
I thought it was non-tuplets.
there is we will always try to maintain the schedule. So just every other Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Basics. The only time we'll cancel is if we're missing 3 or more players, or I guess maybe even more than 3. If we're missing 4 or more, it's probably worth pushing it. But with this many players, we can have people rotate in or out. So while I don't want any of you to miss it, and I obviously would prefer for you to be here, it's not the end of the world like it would be in a smaller gaming session. If you're playing with 3 or 4 people and you have to miss a game session, that probably means nobody gets to play, and that's a bummer. But with a group this large, if IRL has to kick your ass one week, it's not the end of the world. We've gone over the tone and setting of the world, I think, a little bit. It's should be relatively familiar to most of you. 2 other things: we talked about not being a dick. We talked about not ruining someone else's fun in pursuit of your own fun. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is there's not a delicate way to say this, but sometimes there are boundaries to what people want to explore in a game. Obviously, well, maybe it's not obvious. I tend to not want to participate in, like, I don't want any politics in the game. I tend to not explore like intense religious themes. I don't want to participate in sexual violence. But beyond that, like, classic kind of like R-rated movies or mature rated video games is about where I draw the line. I tend to call it like the rule of good taste. Does anybody else have, like, I hate to ask it in this way, but does anybody else have like a trigger or a boundary that we should try to avoid as a gaming group? I only ask because I don't know all of you very well. I know some of you very well. I know some of you very little. So I don't want to put anybody in a situation where they're uncomfortable. Like I said, ignoring politics, extreme religious situations, and sexual violence. Is there anything that anybody really can't?
I prefer not to listen to people role-playing sex,
Yeah.
if I'm being completely honest.
That's fair.
I think it should be if it ends up being like these people do this, period, and
Yeah. Like fades
Sure,
to
yeah.
black.
like
Yeah.
not necessarily discounting the chance of it happening,
Right,
but
right,
it's
right.
literally just it happened, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
me
not
and
a
Dex
huge fan
have
of
to have
people
a
like
private evening. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
totally banging basics.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I tend to stay away from over sexualization of stuff. So
Sure. Is flirtation or any sexuality appropriate for you in a game sense?
yeah,
That's
fine.
fine. It's just
I just
specifically
body
specifically
parts.
like
So-
I'm sticking my dick in you kind of
Right.
sort
Exactly.
of
Whoa,
thing. Kind of
whoa,
off limits for
whoa!
me.
We won't be rolling for dick size. Got it.
Well,
what you're
and
telling me.
have-
So what you're telling me is I can't roll 20 for helicoptering. Okay.
helicopter.
I feel like at that point we're getting into the comical round, then we're breaking
Yeah.
the tone.
No, that's definitely a good point. Does anybody else have anything that's just? It doesn't have to be like oddly taboo. It can just be something that really pisses you off. Like, I don't want to deal with, I don't know, talking chipmunks. Like, now would be the time to discuss those things so that I can try to steer us away from something like that.
It would
If it
really
happens-
piss me off if I didn't get to have a chance with a hot night with an elf. Thank you.
Nice.
Since you brought it up, the whole chipmunk voice, I'm totally against that.
Fair enough.
I
will-
didn't think about that until now, but yeah, that's a no-go for me.
Like, are you being serious?
It's a little annoying.
What is the chipmunk voice for you? Like the Alvin and the Chipmunks, or something
Yeah.
else? Okay.
I listen to a lot of that in like music at least around like in my retail job, and I would prefer not to hear it anymore.
That seems fair.
I
Um,
was completely joking if it wasn't obvious.
if like we as a group can just like try and steer away from like sexism and misogyny, that'd be pretty cool for me. I'd like us to not like have that happen too much, or if it does happen, as a like your character is growing to not do that, but like not a repeated thing.
Yeah, I said it's always a fine line to walk because there's always going to, like, there are some elements that I think are essential to like truly heroic storytelling that sometimes can't really be avoided. But I don't know. It's hard to describe my rule. Suffice to say that I think I will always try to err on the side of good taste. Like, there might be an episode where, to truly vilify a person, I might describe a scene where he smacks a waitress.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's acceptable. But like, I don't want us to sit down and role play like, okay, now it's my turn with the barmaid. Hold her for me. Like that's
No,
that's gonna be like a hard.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I'd just be like, try. We're not doing this.
Right. You never know. Like I have sat down at a table with some people that I thought I knew pretty well, and it can get weird fast. So I just like to add this into the session 0 pregame. It's just like here are some things that we're just not gonna do. That way, if it comes up organically, I can refer back to this night and say, hey, you agreed we were not gonna do this. All right. What else do we got here? In regards to role playing, I would like it if people did their best to role play. What that means to you is entirely different than what it might mean to someone else. I don't expect people to change their voice if they're not comfortable with that. I don't expect people to write a 16-page novel of backstory for their character. I encourage people to participate at whatever level they're going to be comfortable with, but I do ask that for the sake of other players' immersion, you do try to be as in character as you're comfortable being. If that's just X using X's voice all the time, but just trying to make decisions for the character as the character would make them rather than as X would make them, that's plenty sufficient for me. If he knows the town he grew up in, whether or not his parents are alive, whether or not he has any siblings, and what he thinks is right versus what he thinks is wrong, that's like all he really needs to role play a character. Again, if anybody wants to go full bore and they want to do a Cockney accent that they've been working on for years and they want to write that novel, I welcome that too.
I definitely have voices I could use.
Hello,
However, on the sake of everyone's sanity, I'm going to keep it fairly toned down.
Yes, just again, your fun is super important to me. As long as it doesn't entrench on someone else's fun. If it's giving Zell a headache and he's very honest about it, then let's find another way for you to do that voice.
A lot of my voices tend to give Saventus headaches, so I'm going to try to keep it down to a minimum.
And that's my
honest. I want to hear your voices.
That's my guiding principle.
Oh no, no, you don't.
Yes,
communication
I do.
is the most important part. The only time gamers I think ever have a problem is when stuff goes unsaid. If Feisty has a problem with Cole or the way Cole handled the situation or the way Cole just stole a magic item, as you know he's gonna do.
Cole, you're a dick.
It only becomes a problem if we don't talk about it. So I like to try to maintain an open door policy. If you ever need to talk to me or you ever want to talk to another player, or if you ever feel like you need me to sit on in between a conversation between two players, happy to do it. All that I ask is people don't leave the table feelings hurt or leaving the game thinking, gosh, I really hated tonight. I didn't have as much fun because X, Y, and Z. Let's really hash this out. We're all here recreationally to have fun. If you're not having fun, then why are we here? So that's all I got to say about that. We can jump into some metagame questions really quick, and then we can get on to character creation. Actually, let me stop talking for a moment. Does anybody have anything for me?
With a group this size, in previous games, we've learned that it is very helpful in order to help speed things along. So we're going to get slugged to prime people by saying like, hey, basics, it's your turn. Dax, you're on deck.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing your name ahead of time just gives you a couple minutes to make sure that you have an action queued. And I've seen games speed up considerably doing that.
Yeah, I'll also have this turn order tracker up, so there's always going to be a visual representation of where we are and who's next, second, and third. But yes, I agree. And like in WoW, calling out stuff, if you just like as I was saying, I think just help everybody stay on task is super important. Or if somebody's getting up to go get some water or something, we may skip ahead in the initiative order one person and come back to that turn later. I would like to make things go quickly. I don't want combats to be a 3.5 hour slogfest where we get to do one thing each night. So going back to the handout that I gave you, we've discussed tone, setting. Back to the player expectations, these are the only things for your character that I will ask of you as players. The first is that you have a firm understanding of who your character is. Like, do they have a family? Are their parents alive? Do they have brothers and sisters? A small conversational history of that character. What's their background? Do they have a job? What is their personality? Are they a curmudgeon? Are they Are they just deadpan humory? Do they have a weird set of morals that they have to follow where they're not conventionally good or evil, but they're just, I follow like a knight's code where I might be in service of someone who's awful, but I have to adhere to this code strictly. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to codify it if you don't want to, but you should be able to answer a couple of questions like that about your character. The second that I ask in a group this size is that every player character must have a pre-existing relationship with at least one other player character. I would love it if there was more interrelationships, but at a bare minimum, like during character creation, Feisty's going to have to be friends with one of you. So if he wants to write in that, him and Cole and Lav used to all run like, a pirate ship at, somewhere else in the world, cool. That's a great backstory. It ties two of you guys together. That's easy for me as a storyteller, and it helps you guys be part of the collaborative storytelling process by telling me how you guys are related. I hate, especially in a large group, I hate the session one of, okay, you all arrive in a tavern and nobody knows each other. I would much rather start the game with some pre-existing connections. That being said, we can even role play some of them if we've got time between this session and next session. I don't want to get too far in front of the horse on that one. And that I also would like PCs to create a connection between your character and some NPC in the world. And now this is where, honestly, I think newer players tend to have the easiest time and seasoned players have the hardest time. You guys are making this player up. I don't have a list of NPCs. Well, I do, but you don't get it. You're not going to read from a menu and pick one. You're going to write a small little something or commit a small little something to memory about a guy you know, or a girl you know, or a person you know, where they are, what they're from, what their deal is, and how you know them. That's it. The person may come into play the very first time we play the game. It may come in session 8. It may never come into play, but I need your character to be grounded to the world in some way. And then lastly, there's a sort of metagamey tendency to want to dump stats in the game. If, for example, charisma is not important to your character, then your very lowest stat always goes in charisma, no questions asked. And if it can be lower, you make it lower. For the purposes of role-playing, a stat that is 8 or lower is significantly below human average. And I would like you to have, as a player character, a sense of why that is. So if I have a dexterity of 8, like maybe I'm partially paralyzed. If I have an intelligence of 7, maybe I'm actually functionally illiterate. If I have a wisdom of 7, am I colorblind? Am I deaf in one ear? Like, I would love to have a tangible physical reason as to why the score is that low, and to have that be a function, a facet of your roleplay.
This might be like a character creation question, but
Sure.
I was just curious how you do stats in your
Yeah,
campaigns.
I think we're ready to jump into that. I mean, like, the rest of it is, first of all, did you guys look at the map?
Yes.
I did.
The map?
In the handout that I linked
Oh,
in
the map.
Pretty cool map.
So I hand sketched a shitty little doodle on a piece of paper, and Megan spent about 8 hours making this a reality.
It's a pretty good map.
That looks amazing.
Okay, where's
Wow.
the
Round of applause.
to link it?
It's beautiful. So the rest of the
actually
handout
amazing.
is just the map, and then it's just some background information on the world and the continent and the realms within this continent. We'll go through, like, important stuff will be brought up in the narrative as we do the story, but I know some people like to have like a handout, a tangible bit of information they can read for backgrounds or that you can reference during character creation. So that's there. I think, unless anybody has questions about any of the session 0 stuff we talked before about rules, about anything else, I've got potential house rules questions, and then we can go right into character creation. Would you guys rather get into character creation first and then talk house rules, or would you rather get the last bit of housekeeping out of the way and then spend the rest of the night building stuff?
Last bit of housekeeping out of the
Let's get
way.
house
I
rules out of the way.
just need to say, for the inept and the person who missed it, where did you link the map?
In the Discord.
It's
The
a
PDF.
PDF document. Here is a Pendilor campaign primer final .pdf.
Is it pinned at the top or something?
No, just scroll up a little bit.
It's above. It's very slightly above the picture. It says everything is okay.
Okay, I'll figure this out in a second.
Oh yeah, just above the 16 feet of at basics.
Yes. Okay. All right. Here's a Pendilor campaign primer final, and then that's the map.
I would like to apologize.
It's a document. Just open up the PDF, like you click on it, it goes to a download. Open up the PDF, should open in your browser window, and then just scroll down. There's a
All
map
right.
in that document.
Okay, thank you.
And just plug in the last 4 of your.
Ooh. Look at that crater.
Did you say your social?
Yeah, it's yeah. She did a bang up job. She did real good stuff with that map. All right, so I am not a huge like homebrew fan. I don't do a ton of house rules. Which is not to say that I'm not open to them. There are, depending on what classes we're going to end up choosing, there might be reasons to explore some of the alternate rules. I tend to, especially with a group this large and especially with such a variance in experience with the game, really want to shy away from homebrew stuff. Like, I've got a blood mage sorcerer that another DM let me use. Like, you can bring it to me, we can talk it through. In all likelihood, I'm probably going to pass on it, just because I like the information to sort of be universally applicable. If this is someone's first game, I don't want Cole to take this experience to another DM's table and have that person be like, "What the fuck were you doing?" I'd like this to be as middle of the road as it can be, and especially with 9 players, it's hard to sort of keep everything straight if stuff isn't in the core books that we're going to have available to us. I'd like to avoid some of the esoteric stuff. That being said, for potions, I like that the very common house rule of drinking a potion for yourself is a bonus action. Administering a healing potion to an ally is an action. I think having it drink for yourself as an action just screws up the entire action economy. So if there are no objections to that, then my house rule is self-sipping on a potion is a bonus action.
So you're telling me it's not like I drink the potion
Well,
in turn.
Can I have a bottomless flask of potion?
I'm
you
kidding.
do
I was a
not.
joke. I'm sorry. I was joking. Sorry.
The second thing that we don't want to talk about is critical hits, critical misses. There's a sort of a gross misunderstanding about how they work in 5th edition. Oh, I guess broader strokes. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I guess at no point did I actually say that.
This
well, shit.
wasn't-
I'm in the wrong game.
Yeah. There are other
This isn't
rules sets.
Pathfinder?
Many of them are good. I really like where 5th edition is at right now. It's probably the most well supported on Roll20 also, which is hugely advantageous for us playing a virtual game. So critical hits in combat means you're going to roll double dice. So if you have a 1d8 longsword plus 3, you critical hit with it, you roll 2d8 plus 3. There are previous iterations of the game where it was just double damage. That is not the case. I just want to be clear about it up front before there's confusion down the road. And there's this sort of prevailing home rule, really, because I don't think it even worked that way in 4th edition or even 3rd, where if you critically succeeded on a skill check, you were guaranteed overwhelming success. No force on earth could stop you. And likewise, if you rolled a 1, regardless of your bonus, you were doomed to utter and complete failure. That is not how the rules are written. I tend to like to support the overwhelming success side of a 20 because there's something fun about a very tense moment where a player needs to sneak past a guard and he's wearing full plate mail. And I look at Zoe and I say, I don't know, buddy. The check is going to be a 22. And he says, I've got disadvantage and my dex is only a 2. And I said, well, that's going to have to be a 20. And he rolls back-to-back 20s. Oh my God. Like, yeah, that's huge. I want that to be celebrated. It shouldn't work, but it did. I don't like ones always being a failure. I think it should harrow you. I think it should be bad. I'm not going to necessarily say that a 1 is always a failure. Conversely, I'm not going to say that a 20 is always a success. And I think it's important to sort of measure expectations. We've had some players in the past who think that like you could convince a king to abdicate his throne to you with 1 charisma check if you roll a 20. That's not really how life or the game works. So I just want to set realistic expectations that a 20 is not always a success and that a 1 is not always a failure. But on that same token, there are some people who like to do advanced critical hit tables and critical fumble tables. Does anyone have a strong opinion on those? Those are not.
I enjoy the hilarity of critical failure sometimes. Like, not necessarily. I understand that comes at a huge disadvantage to the player.
I think
But like, oh no, I dropped my sword and I stabbed my toe. Oops.
I think critical failure is okay, as long as it's not like horribly hindering to the character. Because like when I was in a previous campaign that basically completely turned somebody off of D&D because he rolled 2 critical ones in a row, and he was trying to basically do an acrobatics jump to grab someone and go on, and then go somewhere else. And the DM basically said, "All right, you fell on your sword," and then then Lich killed you, and so his character was dead, just like that, because he rolled badly. It was just like that. It was 2 ones in a row, sure, but he basically quit the game from that point on. So I think a critical failure is good even if it's even for like almost comic relief, but I don't think it should be horribly that detrimental.
And like I said, if anybody's opposed to it, I'm very happy to not run them. I just wanted to offer it as a possibility. I've seen
I
it
think
in
it's
games
okay.
where it produces some levity, it produces a little bit of dynamic feel to the combat, but at the same token, there is no faster contributor to like the death spiral that makes a TPK than the critical fumble table.
Something that I like to see for like skill rolls with charisma checks, especially like social interaction, is not like just because you rolled a 20 you succeed, but it's a combination of both like what you rolled and what you're actually saying.
Yeah. We'll get into I think I won't well, we'll see as we play the game. I like the group skill challenges that were sort of introduced at the end of 3.5 into 4. And yes, I don't like it when the dice alone speak for a person's or a player character's performance. Like if you just say, well, I go up to the king and we talk, and then you roll a 20, like part of me wants to give you some benefit because you rolled a 20, but at the same point, your RP is we're talking isn't gonna cut it. Anyway, so why don't I put together or unbury one of my critical hit fumble tables, and at session 1 before we play I can show it to you guys. If you like it, we'll use it. If you think it looks like it's not going to be too much fun, then we'll just kick it to the curb. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you
Sounds good.
explain that term to me? I'm sorry.
Which term?
What exactly is a critical hit fumble table?
So in the game, a critical hit means you get to do bonus damage, and a critical
Yeah.
miss in combat means you just fail.
Yeah.
So there used to be in first and second edition of the game these elaborate D100, 100 possible bonus things that happen on a critical hit. So if you critically hit, you would then roll on this critical hit table, and it was like your dagger gouges out the enemy's eye. He's now blind in his left eye, and he's got disadvantage on all ranged and perception attacks for the next 5 rounds or something. Cool, because like now your super cool attack did something extra, and it feels like it was really this dramatic, important turning point in the combat. Conversely, the critical fumble table is you roll a 1 on your attack, and I say Basics was drawing his longbow, aims to fire, looses his arrow, and Dax stands up right at just the wrong time and catches the brunt of the crossbow bolt right through his throat. And then you roll damage on Dax's character. Or your long sword gets stuck in its sheath and you can't draw it out. Or the strap of your shield breaks, you have -2 AC for the remainder of that turn. They're kind of like fun little penalties for failure. The problem that I think most people have with those is that it can turn a bad situation into a worse situation very quickly. Because if you've critically failed, then you're already sort of on the back foot, and if that results in you hurting someone else in the party, there are people who just have had a bad taste in their mouth with those kinds of experiences.
I
Like
have had a very bad taste of that happening, and then like my player got killed or my character got killed because of a one that I rolled, and another player retaliated. So like sometimes it doesn't end well.
Yeah, I in 20 years I've seen it both ways. I don't really have a preference. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that that was an option we could do. Like I said, I'll find one of my old tables that's like not super punishing, and we can look at it together at session 1 and decide if this is something we want to do or not.
That's one thing I did want to bring up. I know this is back to metagaming. I'm not going to say that it's going to happen, but be cognizant that if we have different character like conflicts and stuff, that this character is a character that someone's playing. Don't randomly kill someone over unless it's somebody super egregious or attack someone over something like that. Like that's
the next
just
thing I want to talk about is PvP, literally. There are some DMs who carte blanche, right? It just you guys, it's the wild fucking west. If Lav wants to steal from Sventies, then I just have to have Lav overcome Sventies' passive perception. You can rob that motherfucker blind, and then if Sventies ever finds out, he's gonna gut him like a fish in his sleep. I don't care for that, if I'm being real, because it's a never-ending cycle of shit. I don't mind the occasional jab, or once in a while, like something has to be lifted off of a character. X picked up a cursed item that's turning his barbarian into this bloodthirsty murderer, and then Zell the rogue has to take it off of him. That's fun. That's that's part of the story. That's the furtherance of the group's objective. I think that's fine. But like just stealing gold to steal gold, I don't know. I think what we should do.
I mean, yes, but
Yes, I will not allow PvP. I will allow BvP.
Great.
Is that basics versus players?
I think we should agree as a group whether or not we want PvP to be a facet of the game.
I like Spicy's idea.
My general rule is no. I just don't like it. I don't like including it. I don't like that being a dynamic that people have to worry about. I don't like that if Sventies and Lav were vying over a magic item and it just came to a die roll and Sventies won, I don't want him to have to worry about well, shit, is Lav gonna kill me while we're sleeping tonight? Because I want to take first watch, and you know what I mean? Like, I think it takes more away from the game than it's ever gonna add. But in the game that I'm currently playing with friends at home, there was an instance of PvP that was actually kind of fun, and it was really like a hugely important character development moment for those two players. So I'm not going to just say right off the bat it's never possible, but I think we should all agree at what level we want that to happen.
it's like keep it a good faith. Yeah, that's what I'm basically
I think
getting at.
some PvP is good, but just Wild West bullshit is pretty not fun.
I think it probably makes the most sense if it's agreed upon ahead of time between the two characters, the players being like, hey, do we want to do this? Does this make sense? And have it sort of negotiated ahead of time.
Sure. And that goes back to communication. Yeah, I 100% agree with what Feisty
said. If two players wanted to have a drunken brawl or something like that sounds fine. But if one guy's what, I don't like it anymore, I'm gonna stab you, that seems pretty dumb.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to have anybody else in the party a part of it, as long as the two characters have buy-in together, if Feisty and Lav are going to have an adversarial relationship, like a classic will they, won't they, that ends up being just a little more won't they and a little less will they, that's fine, as long as both of you are as long as both of you are buying into that and you're on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think good-natured ribbing is a part of any adventuring party. I'm not saying you can't do shit to people. I'm just saying I have seen murder hoboism games where it's just I want to I got kicked off the cart by accident, so now I'm going to murder that player. And it's like that. It's just I don't know, man. I feel like if you want to do that, then just go play Grand Theft Auto. This is not the game for you.
Yeah.
Right. I just kind of wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, it was a good point. So I think we're in agreement there on PvP. So my next question for you guys is alignment. I have played in games where I don't use it at all. I have played in games where it's a huge facet. My personal preference is that everybody, especially inexperienced players, at least commit to writing down an alignment, understanding what it means, and using that as rails to guide decisions when you don't know how your player character would otherwise react in a certain situation. It's very easy for Basics, who we all know is an upright citizen. Basics is one of the sweetest people any of us knows. So it's very easy for us to know how Basics, the human person, would react in any given situation. However, if Basics turns out to be this chaotic neutral rogue in our party, sometimes it's going to be hard because he is such a nice guy for him to understand exactly how the rogue might behave in a given circumstance. So sometimes I feel like as useless as alignment can be, it can be useful in those circumstances as kind of a guiding star to help him rationalize how his character might behave in a different way than his human mind might want to. That being said, unless someone has a huge objection to it, I think we go through the process of writing down your character's alignment. But I am not a DM that is going to I don't know. I don't like the idea of, oh man, you stole bread that one time. I'm gonna have to ding you. You're gonna go ahead and write down chaotic neutral now because you're a piece of shit. I think no human person ever fits neatly into just one slot. No one person is any just one thing. But that being said, I think it is useful for guiding decisions, guiding discussions, and in a vacuum being well, I am chaotic good, so I probably wouldn't kill this person just to take their cloak. But like I said, I'm open to discussion about it. But I think for now, it's best if we just each character chooses their alignment to help sort of guide in-game decision making. Let's see. We talked about alignment. The only other optional rule that I want to talk about is inspiration. In game, it's basically a yes or no. Inspiration is a token that a DM can award to a player for basically whatever he wants. Often it's clever roleplay, or I might do it for an amazing success or a great plan, or just whenever you do good, son, you get an inspiration token. The problem is you can only ever have one, and those inspiration tokens can be used to re-roll a 20-sided die result. I have people who find them to be almost useless and don't want to have to worry about tracking them. Other people find them very useful and don't mind that you can only have one. It's a yes or no.
Yes.
Yeah, I like them.
Okay.
Sure.
I think they're fine.
Inspiration, yes.
I don't see the harm.
Cool. Yeah. It's one tiny micromanagey thing that the Roll20 makes pretty easy because it's just a checkbox that I put, and you get this little kind of dragon stamp in there. When you have it and when you spend it, you just uncheck it. It's real simple, but it's one of the things I have to tick the box. Evil characters. I have played an evil campaign. I have played 3. One was really, really good, lasted about 6 months, very enjoyable. The other 2 were over in about 2 days. And it's just because it was immature players who just wanted to try to murder everything that lived. And those don't go far. I don't mind characters who skirt the line of, like, let's just call it neutral alignment behaviors. What do you... I don't want to put a rule on it if people want to explore that in this game, but what do you as player characters think about evil alignment in our game?
Personally, I think evil alignments usually just don't work well with the party dynamics if other people aren't evil as well.
Agreed. Yeah.
So like I think maybe not like restricting people to go good or neutral, but like I don't know, maybe not going super evil.
So the biggest thing that works as a mechanic is having some unifying force that keeps, in this case, 9 people together. And it's really hard to have that for someone who also secretly worships demons and wants to blow up the world.
I agree.
Like, it's possible, but you gotta really work it. And I love everybody here. I don't actually know if I trust anybody here to do that well enough to keep it going.
Yeah.
I think if it works well with the group mechanic, then fine. If not, then no. But
Yeah,
what you said about if everyone's evil, then cool. Or at least chaotic neutral.
I've never successfessly managed to storytell a game that involved one evil character and a bunch of other non-evil players. Go ahead.
I've been in one before, and but that's because the evil character was very, very well thought out in its background and motivations, and unless you really put your effort into where they are and where they're going, it's difficult to have a good evil character that is continuous in a game.
I played in a game once where one of the other PCs was very much like a Hannibal Lecter style character. And that worked out okay, because there was, he had utility. There was value in his presence despite his predilection. But I mean, I don't. For our purposes, I hate to be a DM that says just no, period, hard stop. But I think I would prefer it if we could find a way to not indulge in evil alignment for this campaign. I would prefer that. If you feel just this incredibly strong compulsion that you have to do it, and it's the only character concept you have in mind, let's talk about it. Just you and I. But otherwise, let's say anything but evil. Sound good?
Sounds good.
What about loose cannon?
Yes, that's I suspect to have at least 8 loose cannons.
At least.
At least 8.
Well,
now the loose cannon is the guy who's not the loose cannon.
Yes. And the last thing that I've got, it's a rule that I started playing this last summer with my home game guys. I have 3 new casters who have never really played casters before, and it's every turn is flipping through the spell book. We talked about expediting actions and everything else. Obviously, while people are getting used to their stuff, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but I like to run a 1-minute rule in combat turns, which is to say that if you like 30 seconds into your turn, I'm going to start pressuring you for an action for a response. And at the end of that 60-second clock that I'm just kind of keeping in my own mind's eye, if you still haven't gotten an action, then your character is just dodging for that turn, and we're moving on to the next person. Dodge is an action that just gives enemies disadvantage on attacks against you. You kind of lose your turn, but it's not really too punishing. But if you can't come up with something quickly, then I'll just say, okay, you're dodging and move on. I don't hate you. I'm not being rude to you. I just want to be as respectful as we can be to the other 8 people at the table to make sure that they can get their turn in. And again, I ask that if, yes, a wizard is hard to play, I completely empathize with you that you've got 36 spells to look through. That's not anybody else at the table's problem, and it shouldn't be. Know your spells, know what your actions are going to be, and then like Zeph is saying, or Zell is saying, excuse me, when it's your turn, you take your action, and then you know that you've got 8 other guys until it's your turn again. Use that 8 turns to come up with what your next action is going to be. Don't wait for it to get to you and then go, oh shit, okay, who's still alive? Yeah, okay, and what's his deal? Is he he's a bad guy, cool. And what is his power? Does he have a sword? Hold on, I got a spell for that. Like, that's not acceptable. That's not going to work. When that happens, I'll just say, okay, you're dodging this turn, and we'll move on to the next guy. I don't want anybody to take it personally. I'm not angry at you. You haven't disappointed me. You're not dead to me. It's just I need to keep the game moving on for the sake of everybody else. So please don't take it personal.
You're dead to me, though.
Yes, but seriously. And then lastly, there are going to be moments. I know the game pretty well. I don't know everything, and I think no person should ever claim to know everything. If you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. I don't know everything. I will do my best to prepare. I will do my best to remember. I will do my best to adjudicate in the absolute absence of true knowledge. That being said, if we ever come up with a situation where I don't know exactly how the rule works, my quick way to handle that is to first ask if you know how the rule works. Like if you say, I want to grapple, I'll say, I think it's how this works. I'm not sure. And you'll say, actually, this is exactly how it works. Cool. We have achieved consensus. You make your roll. If that doesn't work, we'll ask the group, does anybody else remember how this rule works really quick? If the answer is yes, we get the rule set up really quick. What we're not going to do is start thumbing through books and going through resources. What I use at home and what we'll use here is just a roll off. If I can't get a quick 30-second consensus from everybody about how a rule works, then me and the person who is initiating the rule that's in question will roll a 20-sided die. High roll wins, and we just move on. You have my promise that I will research that rule in the downtime between this session and next session. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and I'll explain how we're going to use it moving forward. But just so the game doesn't bog down, just so that we don't get the rules lawyering going. If we can't come up with a quick, 20, 30-second rule search, then we're just going to roll a die, and that's how we'll settle those disputes. Again, no hard feelings. If it turns out that you were right and I was wrong, I'm not too big a man. I will apologize to you at the next session. But if I win the roll, it's just going to be the way it is. If you win the roll, it's just going to be the way it is, and we move on. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Then we are ready to talk about character creation.
Okay.
The fun stuff. Yeah, some of you can wake up.
I'm
I
excited.
have many character sheets available. So if everybody goes to the journal, it looks like maybe a half-folded newspaper. You should see player characters. I will have to make a new player character.
I'm sorry.
Wait, who's spare parts?
Spare parts.
It's gonna be Sventy's. I like to have a extra character that I can use just for whatever.
He was prepared.
All right, Sventy's, you're in there now. So everybody should be able to open the character sheet on a character that they've selected. Yeah, rules lawyer. That is offensive. I'm sorry. So Basics should be able to open the character sheet called Basics. You can edit and change that name whenever you want to. If you click on the character sheet tab, you should have an option that says use the character mancer. You can click that button. Let's get everybody to that stage first. If anybody does not have that access, let me know.
I saw edit and it says edit decks. So that's just for the name?
Yes. So you're on the bio and info tab. If you go one tab over, you should see character sheet.
Yeah.
You click character sheet, and now you should see use character mancer.
Where?
Right in the middle of the page, there are 3 buttons.
Oh,
Use the character.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly, I need to look down.
Yes.
Ooh,
And
character
Cole,
mancer.
did you see it?
Ooh.
Yes, I got it.
Awesome. Okay. The character mancer will basically talk you through step by step. I have made available Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Eberron, Rising from the Last War, and
Oh.
I think that's it. My only ask on Eberron is I do not want to deal with dragon marks unless someone has a very compelling backstory about why that needs to be a part of this life. I'm absolutely like the rule of cool always wins in my mind. Like if you have this really cool, compelling story about why your character has a dragon mark, we might reflavor it for this setting. It won't be a dragon mark per se because there won't be the house associated with it. But we'll work on it on reflavoring the rules a little bit. And
5-second explanation. What's a dragon mark?
Eberron has 12 dragon houses that each of them manifests an arcane tattoo on their body that gives them certain powers and rights within this elite organization.
Okay, thank you.
But those houses don't exist here, so
Right, no, I got it.
so if you look at character races though, you will see like mark of finding human or mark of healing halfling. I would prefer that those races not be chosen. I included Eberron because it's got a couple of good races, like the good version of the orc, the changeling, the goblin. But I would like to not include the marks if we can. Like I said, if somebody reads it and just went, oh my god, this is the character I've always wanted to play, yeah, let's talk about it. We'll make it work. The Artificer is going to be an eligible class, but I would like us to work together on how to flavor it slightly less steampunk, slightly more high fantasy. I think it's entirely doable. Wands instead of guns kind of thing, but we can talk about that as people get decisions made on race and class. Otherwise, I think basically sky's the limit. The world of Meridian is intended to be very open, so I'd like you guys to have some freedoms here. Let me know when we get through choosing a race, because then we'll discuss about how we're going to generate ability scores.
I actually have a question about races.
Sure.
I really wanted to play a half dwarf if
bugbear?
possible. And I know they're not a default race.
Half orc is in there.
Half dwarf.
Oh, half dwarf.
So half human, half dwarf. I did find some stuff on, was it a GM binder of a whole page? If you want me to link it to you, you can at least read through it and see if you will accept it or not.
Yeah, send me the link.
I'll throw it in Dungeons and Dragons Discord.
Hey, Try.
Yes, sir.
This isn't a question for me, and I'm not going to point any names, but on your little picture here on the background, you have possible PC tokens, right?
Correct.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 over on that top row on the left. What race would that be?
That's a goblin.
That's a what?
It's
Goblin.
a goblin. It's
Okay.
a goblin female.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
The other thing I was gonna ask is if you don't approve of that character sheet that I linked, could I just play a half elf and then flavor text it as a half dwarf?
Sure. If you're happy with the stats that the half elf provides, that's probably the easiest solution.
The half dwarf is pretty much the same. There's I think they get some constitution bonus over the half elves. That's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I much prefer retexturing existing rules with new just flavor than I prefer having to import homebrew something into a game that's not going to support it well.
Okay.
Let me take a look at what you've sent me here. And
one more question: Did you get the message I sent you?
No, I'm sorry, I don't have
directly
Discord open.
Okay.
When Roll20 freezes.
Yes. So Lav had a question. The tokens that I've put at the bottom of the screen are just the splash page was mostly just to help inspire some creative thought. Any if you guys, once you've decided what kind of character you want to play, if you just send me any kind of JPEG art, I can make a Roll20 token out of it. So you can completely customize your appearance in that way.
I just sent it to you.
Since I already have that program as well, can I just send you the token itself?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got token tool up. I'm already looking at pictures.
Still trying to decide on the race I want to play.
So when you have an ability score increase, is that just something that's based in the? Because a half elf can do 2, so does it just mean you get a bonus to those scores?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Why can't I whisper to you? Bleh.
Book knowledge would be under what skill proficiency?
It depends. And I know you hate that answer, but
I know.
like if it's something historically based, then it would be a knowledge history check.
So if my character lived in a library for most of her life, what would that probably be under?
Well, it would probably be a combination of religion, arcana, and or history.
I'm gonna go with history. Thank you.
I am reading half dwarf stuff for just a second.
Okie dokie. One last question. Undercommon is a lot of time used sometimes by certain DMs as like kind of like a language based off of like, you know, it's either like literally like kind of like demons and like and dwarves and stuff, but it's also sometimes used as like kind of not like thieves can't, but like a thief language. Is that how it's going to be here, or is it going to be more of the dwarfen like underground kind of language?
Yes. Deep dwelling creatures of the world will speak undercommon.
Okay.
How is that different from deep speech?
Deep speech is just the elementals, I believe.
No, that's primordial.
Oh, I guess you're right. Give me one moment. Yeah, you're right. It might be a racial thing then.
Oh wow.
Is it okay to be a mark of shadow elf?
Oh, deep speech is the language of aberrations. That's right.
Ah.
They
He
just
said not. He
feel
said
going
not to use a
mostly
mark of
talk to them
something.
in the Underdark.
I'm
What
pretty
if I
sure he
wanted
said
to be
not
a
to use
kobold?
a kobold. Sure.
I was looking at kobolds
Oh,
too,
okay.
but they're like, no, it's
No, they don't.
evil. You can't
It's
do
not
it. I'm like,
evil
what?
if they rely on their pack. So as long as we have a pack, we're good.
So as long as there's more than one kobold, you're good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're joining this adventure, and I was thinking because like the sea is well, that new island is coming out of nowhere and it's disrupting so much stuff. Maybe it's even disrupting the kobolds underground.
All right. Basics now we're both
Yes.
kobolds, which is good because I've been looking at pictures of kobolds for the last hour.
Everybody's kobolds.
No, unfortunately.
And they have a lot of cool bonuses, and they kind of centered themselves around the class that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
Being
Oh
more
my God.
dex-based rather
More
than
skill
strength-based.
proficiencies? Wait a minute. What?
So try.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Lord.
Where was you said once everyone had picked a race, or like kind of like don't go any further than that, or
Yeah, well, stop short of abilities because we have to talk about how we're gonna generate ability scores. I guess you can pick class.
okay.
So if I'm gonna make a druid, would chaotic neutral make sense for the alignment? Because the way I think of a druid, I don't think them as like protectors of like the forest. I think of them as like nature itself. So they are not evil and they are not exactly good either.
Yeah,
kinda
that seems
like-
like a very reasonable interpretation.
Okay, another
Okay.
question. I'm full of questions. How do you deal with dual specking? Or do you just say it's probably too bad, just it's going to be too complicated, just don't worry about it?
So you're talking about multi-classing.
Yeah.
For the purpose of we're gonna start at level 4.
Okay.
I would like it just for my own sanity and for like again that sort of easy read continuity if everybody started with 4 levels in a singular class.
Okay, that works. I don't have to do it.
Definitive character identity, and then we can branch out from there. If you want to start multi-classing as soon as next level, I'm fine with that. But a lot of like, you're not really a paladin until level 3. You're not really a druid until level 2. I'd really like to just keep it like mono class just in the beginning.
Yeah, you're not
After
really
that,
a
I'm
sorcerer
fine.
till level 6. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotcha.
I can be a wood elf, right? Like a sub race. we can
Absolutely.
see this. Okay.
I'm going through all the sub races right now, trying to figure out what I want.
There were sub races? Oh, I'm a
Sub-
half elf. That doesn't exist. I'm sorry.
It does for some races, yes. Like elves can be wood elves.
I expected there to be more class options with extra books.
There's
Just the core plus the artificer.
there's a bunch more archetypes per class instead.
That helps. Okay.
Yeah, every class will have anywhere between 3 and 6 like subclasses, specializations for that class.
Oh, there's Divine Soul. I'm not going to do that. But I was like, where'd it go? And I found it.
For like skill proficiencies, if I were to pick medicine, does that also include poisons or
It
strictly healing?
it would more than likely encompass at least a knowledge of poison. If you wanted to be good at working with it, you would probably want to make sure that you picked up a proficiency with an herbalist kit or alchemist tools. And the character background that you select will also sort of help guide that decision. You'll pick up skill and tool proficiencies there as well.
As a druid, I see on here that it says I have a herbalism kit in tool proficiency, so I have to get one, like, right, but I can use one.
Correct.
That's
exactly
what's saying.
correct.
What would you use Insight for?
So, I guess that's a good question. There's a lot of confusion in many D&D circles about the difference between investigation, insight, and perception, and when it's appropriate to roll insight. Investigation is interrogating people, trying to get to the bottom of something, establishing an inquiry, or like rifling through a desk. Perception is seeing a squirrel in a tree, finding a hidden ghost, hearing the sound of a coin drop at the bottom of a well to gauge distance. Insight is often used to counter someone's bluff check. It's used to intuitively understand the truth of a situation rather than what someone is telling you. But more often, it's one of the more abused skills in D&D. Like whenever anybody says anything, like the default player answers, "I want to roll to insight check him." Okay, it doesn't really. I don't want it to be the default state of every time we talk to a merchant, you insight check him. Basically, if there's reasonable doubt, I might, have you roll the insight check. I would rather it not be the player function of every social interaction ever is followed by an immediate insight check.
Okay, and I'm playing a half elf sorcerer. Would you prefer me not to have a skill proficiency in persuasion, because that basically would insinuate that I would basically win every single one of them?
Say that again.
I'm playing a half elf sorcerer, so I have charisma into charisma, and if I have persuasion, that's even more charisma like modifier. Do you want me to put that in something else? Because that would be like metagaming, like to know shit.
I think build the character you want to play. If you're going to be a very suave person, I think that's great. Like Feisty and I talked about earlier together. I don't know if you heard.
Right, no, I did.
The dice alone are not going to necessarily determine success or failure. If you've got a 16 bonus to your charisma, that's huge. But if Lavender, the person, can't string a sentence together, you will be less successful.
Right. I'm just saying that I had a DM that kind of made me not do that because they were just like, "Oh, that's gonna suck." I'm gonna try to do some kind of charisma check on you, and you're just gonna win it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a DM maybe who misunderstood that like charisma is not the end all be all. I can't put you in a jail cell and then have you say, I'm gonna ask the warden to release me with a charisma roll of 22. I guess I'm getting out. It's like, no, that obviously doesn't work. But in the same token, could it 22 help you befriend the largest inmate in the yard who will protect you and help you escape? That seems likely.
Right.
And that I don't know. I like heroic characters. I think the best stories are full of people that are really good at something. So I don't mind that at all. I think he missed the opportunity to have you be the face man of the group and really see it more as a skill than as a punishment.
Right, I gotcha. God, these skill proficiencies are gonna kill me. I'm like, all of these would be useful.
Are we supposed to hit next once we've chosen a race?
Yeah, you can go through class. And I just would like everybody to get caught up so we can talk through abilities.
I just want to ask one simple question.
Sure.
Or maybe just a confirmation. So athletics is like basically how fast and how run or how efficient you are at doing like those things like running and swimming. Or
Sure.
something, right?
Yeah. You used any time that there might be a reasonable chance for you to fail at climbing, jumping, swimming, then it will be an athletics check.
So then what is acrobatics?
Acrobatics is your ability to tumble, bend, contort, squeeze.
Cool.
There is going to be some overlap sometimes.
Yeah.
But more often than not, like climbing a rope is an athletics check. Jumping across a chasm is an athletics check. Parkour, running across the side of a wall to clear the same chasm, is an alternative solution. There is a lot of overlap there, but more like walking across a narrow wire that's been tied between 2 points on a tower, athletics or acrobatics check, where athletics would be used to just try to, raw strength jump that gap. One second.
Acrobatics.
X, you had a question? Is
I
this something I
think
can talk you through?
I'm just trying to pick out what proficiencies. Like I'm not sure what they make a difference in.
It's tricky too because we won't get to backgrounds until after we talk about ability scores. So there's going to be a lot of people that have to go back and look at the proficiencies that they chose for their class. The class gives you a lot of skill proficiencies that you get to pick. Your character background will just by default give you a couple. So there's a fair chance that some of the proficiencies that you will be given by your background will be ones you've already chosen for your class. So there will have to be a little bit of like back and forth. Like if you chose to be a ranger as a class, you might pick survival, which seems like a very reasonable ranger skill to have. But then if you chose outlander as your background, you're going to get survival from that. So then you'll want to go back and choose something else from the ranger class list.
I got you. So just kind of pick 2 for now and then go forward, right?
Exactly, yeah. And just know that when we do like the audit at the character review last step, it'll show you, hey, you've double picked this skill, so you go back and just pick something else. Sorry, Dex, you had something.
Oh, I was looking at the same thing, proficiencies, and I don't know, I was really into the build before, but acrobatics and stealth seemed like fun. Fun. So that's kind of what I was wanting to go with, but I'm not sure. I might come back to.
Yeah, for a monk, acrobatics will probably be fairly important.
What does darkness do?
It turns on the lights.
It's something you attack with magic missile.
That is true.
So are there pre-built backgrounds when we get there?
For the most part, I would like to keep to these backgrounds. In terms of like hermit, sailor, sage, pirate, folk hero. I would like you guys to pick one of those. Again, unless there's a very compelling reason. There's almost I wouldn't say there's no profession that's not represented by these, but there's almost no background that 5th edition did a pretty good job. If there's something that's not represented here, we can talk about a custom one or at least a reflavor of an existing one. But let's wait until we get there before we dismiss it out of hand. How is everybody doing on class? The other thing that's worth doing during a session 0 here is kind of take a quick second to talk about composition. With a group of 9 people, it might be less important than it is in a group of small people to like have the classic, RPG roles filled out. but it might be worthwhile for you guys as players just to discuss to make sure we didn't end up with 9 dragon archers. Because as awesome as they are, that might not be the most successful party ever.
I'm feeling attacked.
I mean,
well, I did want to be a dragonborn. I have since changed my opinion.
Why?
I want to be a halfling monk. That's why.
Okay, no, I'm just maybe you saw Dragonborn and saw something you didn't like.
Just to make it easier, I think I'm just gonna do it half elf, and then I'll just flavor text it to be a half dwarf. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, well, I'm reading through it, and aside from I don't see how, except for like its stature, is it much different than just being a dwarf?
Point.
Because it has resilience, dark vision. Your walking speed is 30 instead of 25. But besides that, you look like it's a dwarf. Except that
maybe I just didn't look at it wrong.
I mean, I only had a chance to skim it because I'm bouncing back and forth.
No, you're probably right. I don't think I looked over dwarves enough to compare them, so you're probably right.
If you want to call yourself a half dwarf, I'm happy to do that, and we'll just change your speed to 30. Other than that, it looks like it's literally a copy paste of all of the dwarven abilities.
Sure.
And then you're picking a dwarven subrace. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That works for me. Yeah.
You're a tall, bald, muscular human man with a dwarf father or mother.
Cool.
Well, hey there, sailor.
Yeah, he gets iron skin and every man for himself now. That's not
fair. All right.
Alright, my abilities. That took forever, but my abilities.
Okay. I know some of you really flew through this because you are quite accomplished. I appreciate everybody's patience as we get everybody to the abilities. So classes. Do we have warriors, fighters, paladins?
I'm probably gonna be a barbarian.
Oh boy, do we have a sorcerer!
I think we have a healer and a rogue, so we're good there.
I'm gonna.
Are you gonna play a healer base?
All right, I'm on abilities.
Just to preface this,
I'm gonna play healer.
Just to preface my previous question, what I'm playing is a sorcerer, but I'm going to be very roguish. Not being a rogue, but be very roguish. So
fair enough. Rakish even.
Yeah, maybe.
As
a sorcerer.
Nice.
As I said in chat before, I am building a wizard that's going to go towards necromancy.
Awesome.
Nice.
I would like to punch things, but at the same time, I wonder if Sorry, what's up, Cole?
Go ahead. So my druid is gonna be, I feel like, mostly support. I'm going like medicine to make like potions and stuff, but also animal handling to kind of. I feel like that would give me good control of like a fight, getting things to people.
All I
and
know
stuff.
is that if I don't have a session where I stick my hand in my pocket and there's suddenly bees, I'm gonna be very concerned.
So Cole, I'm only going to mention it because I don't know that you have a ton of D&D experience. The 5th edition druid can be a lot of fun to play. There are 2 very successful builds in terms of like. Let me back up one step and just say that if you're having fun, then it's a successful build. Like if you are having fun playing the character the way however you want to design it, that's the most important thing to me. In a metagame context, people will tell you that there are basically 2 ways that a druid is well played, and then a couple of ways where it's meh. There's a druid summoner style build, which is not great, and a druid offensive caster build that is not great. With the right secondary specialization, there can be an amazingly powerful druid healer build, and there's also a like offensive shape changing build where you can rapidly shift into highly aggressive animals, and you become a very capable melee fighter whose animal hit points has to be depleted before your character starts taking any damage. So you actually can be a fairly effective tank.
A bear tank, if you will.
A bear tank.
A guardian bear tank? Whoa!
But that being said, you can do anything. I'm just like, I know that sometimes in WoW, at least, you are a guy who likes to know what the meta is.
Shape shifting.
Just the circle of the land wild shape abilities are until level 10 or 12 like pretty fucking broken.
Yeah.
I'm meta abilities, by the way.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I guess I should check it. Is there anybody who's still working on race and class?
I'm sorry, I'm slow.
No.
But I'm pretty much there.
Okay. Let me know when you're caught up, and if everybody else there, I know X checked in and said he was at abilities.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's
Okay.
go for it.
There are several ways to choose or determine your ability scores. There's the standard array, which is just the scores of 15, 13, 12, 11, 10, or 12, 10, 10, something like that. And you put those wherever you want. There's a point buy system where everybody starts with the same number of points and you buy in whatever stat you want. And then there's rolling for stats. In large groups of people, most or some people prefer the point buy system because it's kind of egalitarian in that everybody gets the same thing. If it means that the most you can have is, I think, a starting 18, maybe a 19. Scores cap out at 20 anyway. It just puts everybody on a level playing field. I personally, in my heart of hearts, love to roll for stats. But it can sometimes create these imbalances where, like, yeah, so riding that high, Fubarius rolls 5 18s in a row and then a 10. Oh, just to make it a good round character. And then we pass it to Lav, who's like 10, 10, 9, 14, 12, 8. And it's like that character is not anywhere near the same level of potency that Fubarius' character is. And I think that's totally fine. I think that people in life are not necessarily always created exactly the same, and I think that adds diversity to the game. But there are some people who can't help like the feels bad about that. So it's up to you guys. I would advocate for either point buy or for rolling. I don't like the standard array. It's less
I
custom.
recommend finding a song that you really like and make that your rolling song, because I have a song and I only roll to it, and I always roll like nat 20s on it. It's great.
All right,
So
I kind of want to roll.
I think we should just.
It
roll
is
for
called Rack City, by the way.
I was that actually happened to me when I first tried rolling up a character with a couple of friends of mine before it all went south, and I got below 10 on every single roll. And I had a
So-
character who was pretty much inept, and I'm just like, what do I do?
my house rule as a DM is once you add up all of the modifiers, both positive and negative, you have to have at least a +4 or you get to reroll. So in other words, like if you have 2 10s and 4 12s, that's a valid character. If you have 1 18 and 5 8s, that's not a valid character.
If
I mean, unless you want it, but
say you roll and you're not happy with it, can you just go standard array? Because I have seen people do that before. It's like you get the option to roll, and if you're not happy with it, you just go get standard instead.
I don't hate that. I've never done that. Yeah, I don't hate that. Well, so for it to be a rolling situation, I kind of need everybody's buy-in, and you're not hurting anybody's feelings. There's nothing wrong with point buy. It's been done hundreds of times in thousands of games. Is there anybody who has a strong opposition to the idea of rolling for stats? And again, you're not hurting my feelings or anybody else's. This is one of those speak freely moments.
I want to roll.
I like rolling.
Rolling's fun.
Mhm.
It's part of the game.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna say
roll
roll,
terrible,
and then I'm gonna roll terrible, but it's gonna be fine.
but then you can do what Foob said.
Yeah.
Would you like me to link my song so you can listen to it?
I would like to hear it first.
What if?
It's,
but what if he ruins your song? What if he taints it and then it doesn't work for you anymore?
It can't. I'm sorry, but I've listened to songs so many times and it just works. I don't know why. And the thing is, this is not my genre of music that I like. By the way, this is just a song that I had
Is
somewhere,
that song that
and it
goes like
just works.
Rack City?
What song?
It's a remix of Rack City,
Okay.
and it just works. I don't know why, but it always works when I roll. If I have a plan.
Okay, so I don't hear any oppositions, so we'll do the roll 46, drop the lowest. And I really like Fubarius' house rule of you can take the stats that are rolled, or you can just do standard allocation.
And it's roll 46,
Oh.
drop the
I
lowest,
like
right?
mine.
I like mine.
Yeah, I like Feisties too.
I don't
Very
like
well
mine.
balanced.
Feisties is high, actually, yeah.
Yeah, he's
This
only
is par for
differential
the
is
course for
2?
me. I
Oh,
always
3
roll
highest.
really fucking high on my stats for some god awful reason.
Well, I'm glad to have you on our party.
Ah, Cole did really well too.
Holy shit.
Nice.
I mean, Feisty though.
This is gonna suck.
Nice.
I was hoping to have charisma as a dump stat, but 13 doesn't feel like a dump stat.
Yeah,
maybe you don't cry too loud. Yeah, and so like X and I guess Shamey too. Those are actually, and Dax, those are good roles. You just probably want to consider whether or not those are good roles for like multi-attribute dependent classes. There are some classes that need to have really like good roles in 3 or 4 ability stats, and if you're in X's situation where he rolled a 16 and a 14, which is awesome, and then not a lot else, like that's a good role for a barbarian or a fighter, possibly a ranger. But like that character, those stats are probably ill suited for something like a wizard or a monk.
Yeah.
I want to color it so that you guys understand that while numerically that doesn't look great, it's actually fine for like a single dependent attribute character class.
Right, but my thing is I don't want to have a character that has something below an 8.
Then it sounds like standard point array for you.
I could figure it out though.
I'm pretty
do you
happy with
need
my spread.
strength as a
I like that I
sorcerer?
don't have anything less than 10, but at the same time,
I could
don't have
do it.
anything
I
much
could
higher
put
than
that.
10
I
either.
could. I mean, I'm used to it. I could put in strength. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I know you're sorcerer. I mean, you're not expected to be super buff. I know you're going to be kind of like, below average.
Well, from what Tri said, that means I'm going to basically have some kind of physical disability.
Oh,
I think
right.
I think that's fun. You've got a gimped arm. This is my strong arm.
Yeah, it's your book holding arm, That one
Oh
just
my-
holds your book.
Oh Jesus! Fine, whatever.
Or like Fubar said, I had never heard that house rule before. I like that, where if you are unhappy with the roll, then you just go to the standard array, which was always there as an option anyway. And
Yeah, that way you don't
it's not bad.
people don't
Yeah,
get fucked over.
yeah, like
You're not
that.
completely fucked over at least.
So I kind of like the arm.
Oh, I'm
That's
definitely gonna have a limp.
You like the arm.
What
No,
is
I know it's your character. I'm sorry.
I'm doing
what is Constitution, by the way?
Health.
Basically, yeah, your physical vigor. It's directly going to equate to hit points and saving against effects that would like outright poison you or kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll roll with this. Okay.
It's not super important to many classes, and then at the same time, it's very important to every class. Is that it's your literal health. It's most important to characters that are going to take that frontline role of trying to tank your fighters, your barbarians.
What is
potentially your
standard
pairs.
distribution again?
It's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, or 12, 10, 10, something like that. If you just pick it from the drop-down menu, it'll let you pick
8,
thing.
10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Okay, so basically, it's not that much better than what I have already.
What did you get, Dax? You got good.
I went to
rolls,
standard
but,
array
Okay.
just
Dax, you
because
probably got
I have
way better than
two under 8 would be a little rough.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, you got a lot of Yeah, you're very moderate for sure.
Hey, Try. Can we just blow ahead with the rest of it, or do we want to stop at like a point
No.
as well?
I think the only other hiccup that I had with you guys was abilities, and I think yeah, do your thing, finish your character. Once you hit review it. If you have questions, hit me up. And then I think once we're ready, I'd like to get everybody to level 1, and then we'll level up together. Does that seem fair?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like thinking about it right now because
Dax, I wanted to ask, do you have any racial increases that help your stats to like maybe?
yeah, Dex and Con.
So maybe put that 15 into Dex, so you're maybe optimal damage, or if you want a little more.
Yeah, I
health.
already did the 15 into Dex. Definitely, that's where that was going.
It's also like as a framework, just so that people understand scores. Like 10 is largely considered human average, with 8 being significantly below average. A score of 12 is considered above human average, with 14 and 15 being exceptionally above average, and 16 being epic, 18 being a world-class whatever, a genius or an athlete of world-class caliber, and 20 is the highest possible achievement. You'd be the pinnacle of whatever that stat. You'd be the strongest man in the world, the the Einsteins of the universe.
I'm just torn if I want my 13 to be in Con, where I already have a +1 will be 11, or if I should Or be 14, or if I should put it in charisma, because halflings, I believe, should be naturally charismatic too, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the problem with you being melee, as the monk, you're probably going to want to have a few hit points.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep the 13 in con.
Yeah,
I'll
I know
just
that
be
that's
10s.
less fun. It's not the sexy answer, but it will keep you alive.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm a pretty dumb. Well, not dumb, but I had to put both my 11s in intelligence and wisdom, so I'm not the smartest rogue.
So I have a question about background for
Yes.
like tool proficiencies. As like my race as a dwarf, I get one, and then I get a new one as a guild artisan.
Correct.
Is there any way I could stack them to be like have an expertise in the thing instead?
No.
Okay.
The rogue class and maybe the artificer get expertise as class features, but you can't double stack proficiency for expertise.
Okay.
I didn't realize that my background there was literally one in the handbook for it.
Nice.
Whoops.
Like I said, they did a pretty good job coming up with the backgrounds. I was really impressed with that addition to fifth. And then with the prompts, like the ideals, bonds, flaws. If you guys want to use the drop downs for the personality traits and stuff, please do. If you want to roll randomly because you're unsure, that's fine with me also. And always, if you want to write your own stuff, that's, I think, the gold standard. That's the preferred thing. But if you need guidance or you are not super picky or what is in the drop downs just makes sense for your character concept, please use those. But don't feel limited by them at all. If your bond is, the goblin orphan that you keep in the cellar that survived the raid that you went on as your first soldiering mission and you still have to, clothe, feed, and care for her, that's not going to be on anybody's drop down menu, but it's a great bond.
Oh. There's a background called Urchin.
Yes.
That's the one I'm taking. That's what I was looking for.
Wait, how many other
Yes.
people are urchins?
No,
Oh,
not even. I
no!
just love that word. So
Great.
Do we have 2 urchins in the party then? Because I picked urchin.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that's how you guys know each other.
I think that probably works.
Is anyone else going guild artist? Nice. Only one.
Guild artisan. Let me read it.
It's a fun background.
Try. I actually had a question for retexturing a spell specifically for my character.
Sure.
If I remember correctly, find familiar can just be like some kind of sort of animal that is technically magical. Is it possible for me to, since I am going towards necromancy, have that find familiar be retextured as something that is undead, but is like an undead cat?
I love that, so long as it doesn't impart a mechanical in-game advantage that's not granted by the spell. If it's just purely a retexturing, love it.
Yeah,
If
just
it's like
retexturing.
love it. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
What's up with like the tool proficiencies? Like I can pick one. What's up? What's that?
So in some circumstances, your profession will grant you a specific one. Other times, you will get to choose one or more. And I don't want to say they're self-explanatory because obviously you had a question, but they represent the ability to roll well. I guess you'll be adding your proficiency bonus to any interaction that you have proficiency in. So you have this sort of floating bonus. It starts off at +2 at level 1 called proficiency bonus. And that represents like your character's training or aptitude in certain skill rolls. 5th edition went even further, and rather than having it just be tied to skills, they also tied it to tools and even like instruments and game pieces. If, for example, you're a stonemason, you have proficiency with stonemason's tools. If for some reason there was an opportunity for you to like smash open a sarcophagus that basics had been buried in, I might give you proficient bonus on your athletics check to open it with your stonemason's hammer. It's sometimes esoteric because very infrequently we're going to have the exact, specific use of your profession or your profession's proficiency in a, real world scenario. But It's just they're like you're good at using those tools for their specified purpose.
Okay.
With those tool proficiencies, do you also have the tools, or are you just proficient in?
Your rules as written, you are just proficient in the use of those tools. You don't own them.
Okay.
But we'll do gear at the end of character creation, both mundane and potentially magic.
Yeah, so I'm at the equipment point right now. So should we just start with like the starting wealth, or we should do?
I think you're going to get more bang for your buck if you do the equipment by class and background.
Okay.
The starting wealth is actually not super generous. And then after you do that, you'll keep everything from your character wealth, and then at level 4, we'll go through and pick up
Okay.
some basic stuff.
Similar retexture question, since as Urchin I also get a pet mouse. Can it be a skeletal pet mouse?
I don't see why not. That'd be awesome, especially if you have a skeletal cat.
Yes. Highly ironic.
As long as they're not called Tom and Jerry.
They will not. I will pick better names than that.
It's like this one. It's having me like choose between different like musical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the difference between them. Like,
it can be pivotal to your character, or it can be just a small flavor piece. It can be like
equipment from background, because I'm an entertainer, and it's called Love Letter or Lock of Hair or
Mhm.
Trinket. What's
Sure.
what is it? Is there
So
any? Is that like something I can sell, or like if I choose like lock of hair, will I be longing for someone all the time, or like?
this is one of those classic things where that's entirely up to you. You write this part of your character story.
Cool.
If you want to carry a trinket that's like, the first girl you ever fell in love with when you were 13 years old, and you just keep this, childhood locket with you at all times because it reminds you of the purity of that age, great, and it helps guide you in moments of darkness and despair, great. It could be the lock of your sister's hair who recently died, and this is to remind you to stay on the path you were walking. It's entirely up to you.
Cool. Okay. I'm not gonna go with that route, but I totally get it, and I'm gonna. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Of course.
Arcane is a mystery to you.
Oh, that's
Don't make a spell.
that's
I love
kind of
it.
this spell is kind of nasty.
Which one?
Infestation.
Oh yes.
You haven't really done that much yet.
Cause a cloud of mites, fleas, and other parasites to appear momentarily on one creature who you see within range. Ooh, this is spooky. That's a spooky spell.
So now that I have my character made, I'm gonna share the weapon I'm gonna be using. It's gonna be a warhammer. I made a warhammer for my dwarf. Since I'm basically gonna be a blacksmith and everything, I thought it'd be pretty cool to have a warhammer that's basically also an anvil that I can carry around with me. So this is basically what I made for my character.
That's actually sweet.
And so I can
That's
use it as
actually
my
really good.
weapon, but I can also use it as a anvil for crafting.
What is it called?
I don't have a name for it yet, but I'll think of one for next section.
I think it
Yeah.
should be just called Anvil.
I could also just call it anvil.
I think it should be
Anvil.
called the Manville.
The Manville.
I'll call it the manville then. Definitely gonna call it the manville.
I love it. I like the little cudgel at the end, as if you're gonna be holding it by the anvil.
So I'm on like spells now. Should I wait or?
No, I think go ahead and get it through the review process at level 1, and then we'll just pause there to make sure that everybody's got the level 1 character like rock solid, and then we'll go through level up together.
Ah, yes, prestidigitation. That is always. You should always take that. Very useful.
Yeah, often overlooked.
Not often that you can just go like that and make it sound like a train horn came from the other side of the room and make people go like, "What the fuck?"
Well, I mean, Dax can, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, I want to ask something about my alignment. If I was going for like, say like a really poor city, and someone came out of that city and they're like a thief, but they're doing it for good intentions, would they call themselves evil at that point?
In my experience, very rarely does someone think of themselves as evil. I think so. It's like the classic Jean Valjean conundrum. I think
Gotcha.
that probably leaves you in like somewhere between chaotic good and neutral.
Yeah,
They
I was
call
gonna
it
say
who am I?
chaotic good, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay, cool.
Does language proficiency matter at all?
Yes. Anywhere from like extreme importance to almost negligible. Everybody in the world, for the purposes of ease, will speak common, but there will be some times where you might encounter a being or a person who only speaks a different language. I think it's important to flesh that out, not only because it gives you an in-game advantage, but also because it sort of speaks to the experience and the background that your character has. Like if you speak Abyssal, that's the language of deep demons. Like, how do you know how to speak that? That's a fun story unto itself. Not to mention potentially very useful in game. And it's also fun if two characters in the same party speak a language that nobody else speaks, because then it allows for subterfuge for communication that no one else can understand.
Is anyone a halfling?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm a tiefling.
I've taken halfling as one of the languages as I learned.
Nice. Maybe we can be friends.
I thought we already were.
I mean, I
Yeah.
could take the spell Friends.
Why can't we be friends?
Skin?
Why can't we be forced to be friends? Wait, that doesn't have the same ring to it. Oh wait, hang on, I didn't scroll down. What's Shocking Grasp? This is cool. Oh, it's fucking Witch Bolt. I need to have Witch Bolt. That's like my that's like my thing.
What would be primordial?
That's the language of the elementals.
Perfect. Then I will get that. Also, I am choosing to be a hermit.
True Strike is useless.
It is not great.
No. No.
Frostbite's real fun though. As is Toll of the Dead.
I don't have Toll of the Dead.
I've definitely taken Toll of the Dead.
Toll the Dead is a great spell.
Yeah.
However, what I was gonna take, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh shit, I lost it. Instant Spray.
Love you.
You too. Can't stand it.
I take Infestation because it forces people to move around. That's hilarious. Frostbite means I will.
My Discord cut out probably.
No, I can
Hello?
hear you.
Hello.
Everyone's talking really low. Oh.
I'm just
Hello.
gonna quiet.
Was that the case? Yeah. So it sounds like most of you are picking spells if you are a spellcaster. Does that mean we're pretty close to going through the character audit review process?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm just filling out bio.
I have finished level 1.
Figuring out spells.
Sounds like most of all of you are playing spellcasters.
I'm not.
What are you playing?
I am playing a monk.
Nice.
I was pretty confident that there would not be a lot of healers.
Usually a fair bet.
All right, I'm through spells.
Alright, I need to not have a cantrip. I need to have a cantrip that's not has to pass a Constitution throw. Hang on. I just realized I picked 3 of those. I'm like, uh-oh.
What are cantrips?
So there are 2 types of spellcasting in D&D. The first are leveled spells, 1 through 9. You have a finite amount of them per day, and they only restore at the end of a long rest, an 8-hour period of rest. And they tend to be powerful, impactful abilities. You also have lesser potent abilities called cantrips, and those can be used any number of times per day, limiting probably once per round. But like there's a spell like Shillelagh for the druid, enchants a normal staff, turning it into this magical bludgeoning weapon for a short period of time. You can cast that whenever you want.
And if you're a sorcerer and you have quick cast, you can use it as a bonus action.
Where do I change my name again? Bio, sorry.
You can change it from the tab in the upper right-hand corner that says Edit. Or if you just look at the finished character sheet after review, you should be able to change it in the upper left-hand corner of the character sheet proper.
Cool.
Oh, I appreciate it. They also let me take the extremely cool cleric spell, category :spells, classes ***, cleric level :non.
This seems like this seems like it's a really this is a really strong spell. Chromatic Orb. When it hits, it's 3d8 for level 1. That's nuts. That's me.
So like, I don't do anything on the feats, right?
No. No one. Well, unless you are a variant human, nobody starts with a feat at level 1.
Okay. And then we just go to bio then?
Yep. If you want to, at some point, I would love everybody to jot down at least like a sentence in the bio. But you can do that on your own time between now and session 1. And I said, if you want to write more, please, that's great. Everybody should be able to read your character sheet, so there will be, like, if there's something in there that you would rather not share with the party, then obviously don't write it in the bio. You can just send that to me, in a Discord whisper or something.
This is awesome. Is bio and info supposed to be blank, or is it just not loading?
Sure, I'll make my character Lavender. Why not? What's the last name? Hey, Saventus.
Yeah?
Should I make my last name Darkmoon?
Shut up.
For the record, that's Saventus' last name, character's last name, from 14.
I like that I can always tell how bad an idea you just had, even if I have no idea, based on how Saventis reacts.
It's pretty good, actually.
Try.
Sir.
The capital city is called Pendilor, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The region around it just sort of adopted that same name because it was...
Yeah.
Can I put Who Wants to Know on wait?
I'll never tell.
Fine, keep your secrets.
Metric, question mark?
And hair, is that like a description of it, or is it just the color?
It's a yes or no, actually.
Oh, damn. Yes.
Only hair.
Okay, well, for hair, I basically put the color of my skin.
Wait,
Your hair
what? There's
your hair
skin
choices-
there.
Your hair choices are either Mr. Clean or Mr. It. Oh, sorry, Cousin It. Fuck.
Should I go for the ironic last name, or should I go for an on point?
It's your character.
I don't know, though.
Just remember, this is a serious tone, less comical.
No, I know. It'd be like Light Warden, like as a last name, but but my character's all about like darkness. I don't know. That's what I was thinking of.
What's
You
the
do
first
you.
name?
Lavender.
Lavender Paradox.
Yeah. No, I'm not even gonna do lavender. Hang on. Now I'm back to the drawing board.
We can
Lavender
church it up
smelly
and call you
pants.
Lavander.
What?
Church it up and just pronounce it Lavander.
Ah. Or my character smells faintly of lavender, and that's why people call me that.
That's true.
That works, I guess.
Or if you're going to be working in shadow magics, the umbra that's left after each casting of your spell could be a soft purple, like lavender.
That's perfect. Thank you. Although there's not very many cantrips or spells that are just straight shadow magic, I've noticed.
That is true.
It was kind
Just
of
disengage
disappointing.
shadow magic.
Yeah.
So,
wait, what?
Again, there's always the opportunity. This is a story, a game entirely of our imaginations. So Feisty has already expressed an interest in wanting to just kind of reskin something so that he could have an undead find familiar ability. Totally cool. It's great. It's on flavor. It's on point. It was a solid idea. I don't want to get like too carried away with it, but if you picked a damaging cantrip, that I don't want to change damage type because I feel like that could have a metagame unintended side effect. But there's no reason that like Firebolt couldn't be Shadowbolt.
Right. I already picked a bunch of lightning and frost, so that kind of helped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
What?
Oh yeah.
I think I did too.
Oh,
We're
fine.
gonna have a couple of samesies, it seems.
Well, I had to take Witch Bolt because that's like my on point.
It's
Did
a pretty
anyone-
solid spell.
Did anyone build a stealth archer by chance?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, and after all that talking, Zell, you were going kobold and not even.
I was going to, and then I looked around and I saw rogue, sorcerer, wizard, assassin, ninja, and I'm like, okay, guys, come on.
Ninja.
Listen, if things die fast enough, we don't need to be healed.
Yeah, if you have
That's
good DPS, you
probably
don't have to get heals.
I mean, that is very true.
The best defense is a really good offense. So you can't get hurt if they're not dealing damage.
Or one really well geared paladin.
Do I just stay here at the review, or do you want me to apply changes?
If there are no red marks for corrections that need to be made, you can apply changes, and you'll see your level 1 character sheet.
Would it just like tell you that there is one, or
Yeah, it'll say it'll be like in that sort of deep red, almost brown text, like you have chosen the athletic skill, which was also granted by the background. It would stand out. Everything else is black text. This would be like deep maroon.
okay, yeah.
How's everybody else coming up on spells and the review process? Are we close?
Yeah, I'm basically ready. I'm just been working on my bio.
Same.
I'm still stuck in background, clearly.
We can come back to the background. If it's all you're doing is typing background, that's fine. If you are picking traits, I'd like to wait. But if all you're doing is typing out the bio, then let's move on.
I'm building my character, is what it says.
Oh, but
Oh, did it hang up on you? Is it like 75% of the way through, but not 100?
It's like 95% of the way through.
Okay. Shit. Give it a second more. If it doesn't finish, then you're gonna have to reload reload the page that Roll20 is open in, and there is a not unreasonable chance that you're gonna lose some of the progress. It means that you lost your connection to Roll20 during character creation, and it can't finalize. It happens sometimes.
Son
Yeah,
of a
I'm so
bitch.
sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to let me go any further.
Okay.
So I got to refresh it?
Yeah, refresh the page. It should come back mostly the way it is, but you'll have to go back and look and see what if. Sometimes nothing bad happens and you're going to be just fine. And I want to tell you that's going to be every time, but it has not always been the case for me.
My name's there, so that's fine.
Well, that's good. You're halfway there.
Actually, it looks like I got everything there.
Oh, that's awesome. Then yeah, just click apply and make sure that it's going to come through. Or if maybe it already applied and you were just getting like a false unfinished.
Yeah,
load.
like if I click on my character sheet, it actually gives me like everything that's already there.
Good. I'm glad you didn't lose anything.
Try
At
it's
least
okay.
I think so.
Sorry.
Oh boy, -2 on strength rolls. My favorite.
-1, sucker.
My lowest is a +2.
Nice. My highest is only a +3.
What am I looking at? My strength is at a -3.
Oh, jeez, I didn't even see.
I have a -2 in Dex.
But then again, I am. This
Are we
fits with the
talking
character.
about our mods?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a 0 in intelligence and a 0 in wisdom,
I have a 0 in wisdom.
but I have a 4 in dex.
I got 3 in charisma.
All right, my character's done. Tell me what you guys think.
Yep.
Love it.
Wait, can we see it
Did
now?
you read it?
Who's Leo Stronghammer?
That's me.
Oh.
Couldn't tell.
Who's Kigsword?
That's me.
You're Kigsword?
Yes.
I love the broken speech.
Yes.
Lav, what did you end up naming your character?
Alexis Blacktalon.
Nice.
That's pretty great. Basics.
Thank you.
Blacktalon was the last name of my previous character that I'm hinting at most of this off of, so.
Oh.
Nice. I think mine is done.
Yeah. I like it, Feisty.
Thank you.
All right.
don't-
Go ahead.
Oh, I've been wanting to play a character like this for a few years, so I'm glad that I finally get an opportunity to.
Good. And they'll never leave me.
It's not evil.
Yeah. I'm very friendly. Is there anybody still not reviewed their character?
I'm working on bio right now.
If
I'm doing the age and height.
okay, try to wrap up the bio if you can in 2 minutes. You can always come back to the bio later.
How much does a halfling weigh?
It should tell you all that, right? It told
Yeah,
me all that.
there
I
are
was
even mechanical advantage.
Oh, I don't have to fill this up other than the name.
I'm sorry.
Do I have to fill this up other than the name, or like you said, can I come back
You
to
can
it
come back
later?
to it
like
later.
for the
Absolutely, yeah. That part of the character sheet will always be accessible.
Desktop, where's the picture? Where'd the picture? Where'd it go? There it is. Open.
Ooh.
There we go.
Let me know when everybody is done. See if you can move that token.
Oh shit. Oh,
How,
what have I done?
How would you like me
What have
to
I done?
submit that token?
What have they done?
That's huge.
It didn't mean to do that. There we go.
No.
There we go. Yes, I can
I
move
got
it.
my character.
And does it shift click, double click, open up your character sheet?
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
Triber to PM. Should I send it to you on Discord?
Damn.
That's fine. Yeah,
7
whatever.
hit points. I'm
Can
the
you
best
can you
guy.
pull things? Can you pull pictures out of bios?
I should be able to. I don't know. I've never actually tried.
Because I would use the one that's in my bio if possible.
I just sent you a headshot. I screenshotted.
You are not the only one.
Oh, here, basics. I'll make you a token.
I think Try can do it with what I sent him.
Yeah, I can do it too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Try, I sent you a token as well.
I saw.
Cool.
Do I just send you an image?
This is what I sent Try. So
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, I know what you sent. I gave it to you.
I know.
Can I just have my hammer as my manville as my token?
I mean, I suppose you don't want to have a more accurate representation of your character.
No, that's fine. I was just wondering.
And while I'm getting everybody familiar, Feisty, you are.
Pardon?
I'm looking for Feisty's character's name.
Oh,
Hell.
Hell, got it.
All right, the only descriptor that I have in my bio right now, because I have to kind of lift and edit something from somewhere else, is Lavender was a name she was called based off of the awfully purple nature of the magic she produces.
Nice. Love it.
Is black
Gotta
and
get
white
them
okay,
forms
or
up,
do you
yeah.
want it in color?
Do you want to see your image in color, or black and white? Because
No,
I can't color it. Well, I mean, I suppose I could. I won't colorize it, I guess is the more accurate statement.
I will not give it color. Yo, who's that cool picture with the dude in the trench coat?
That's mine.
Oh, who are you?
Kel? Feisty.
There it is. I have a feeling like we're just gonna all be a band of just
Misfits.
misfits from the streets. Jesus Christ. That's okay. Y'all had the same idea, I guess.
A weird dysfunctional family.
We all just met in the woods or something.
I just sent one to you, Trey.
I mean, at least 2 of the characters in this party are actually from the woods.
Sorry, I'm taking just a minute to make these. While I'm doing the tokens, why don't you guys open the character sheets back up again? And so everybody should have a level 1 character sheet. True or false?
Yeah, true.
yes.
No.
Is that a real no, or are you being sarcastic?
That was a no, but yes, it's true.
Okay. What do we need to get you to a level 1 character sheet?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I do have a character sheet.
Okay.
It was on the wrong page, and I was very confused.
Nice. Then in the upper right-hand corner, there's a box for experience points, a line. If you guys enter 2,700, 2,700, 2,700, and press enter, you should get a little Charactermancer icon that looks like maybe crossed maces. And clicking on that button will load the Charactermancer level up process.
You said
And you can start
2700?
2,700. Yep, 2,700 XP takes you to level 4. There will be lots of things for you to do. Again, the Charactermancer should guide you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. One thing to note, at level 4, all characters get an ability score bump, which is a +2 to 1 ability score, +1 to 2 ability scores, or you can take no ability score improvements and instead select a feat. There were a couple of you that talked about having interest in feats, or Dax, I wasn't ignoring you. If you were interested in having like a background as a healer alchemist, there's a really fun feat called Healer that will literally allow you to use the contents of a healer's kit to restore hit points. Could be a fun way to merge your character's backstory with like a mechanical in-game advantage.
Okay.
Do we roll for HP?
You can roll or take the average. I don't super care.
And you
Nice.
just click it once?
Yes, just one time.
But we
We'll
have
do
to
that for
do
each
level up to 4 or 5.
4. Yep.
4.
Oh, do I have to type that in?
There's a little thing you can click up and down right next to the title on the level screen.
Once your hit points are rolled, your character sheet should update. You shouldn't have to manually change your hit points.
I get it.
Cool.
We're at
How do
level
I-
4, right?
Yes, ultimately we'll be at level 4.
Okay.
And Zell, the name of your character?
Zaz?
Oh yes, I get darkness. That's right. Not multi-class. I was told not to do that.
That's a good idea. You should not do that.
So just try. Once you go through the whole process and the cross swords are still there, just continue clicking until we're level 4.
Correct. Yep. It shouldn't let you. You shouldn't be able to overshoot and go to 5 because I've only given you enough XP to hit 4.
It let me go to 5.
That's bizarre.
Like it's literally showing me like I can roll for level 5 HP right now.
Don't do that.
I'm not. It's just sitting there at average right now, but I don't know how to get rid of it.
Who's the other monk?
Me.
Me. What
Sventies.
monastic tradition are you doing?
I don't know.
Did we even go to the same monastery together?
Like anything you want me to do, John, or
No, just leave it alone at 4. Let me hold on. Let me swap back over to the game and take a look. Sorry, I'm trying to make tokens.
yeah, because my level 5 is telling me to roll or average.
What character are you?
Demaxos or whatever.
Did 2.
Take a peek.
Okay, I just had to go off the screen and come back. We're good.
Okay. Every time I think I invent a foolproof system.
Should I go for an empowered spell that I could re-roll it again and make it more powerful? Or should I go for a twin spell where I can attack 2 things with the same spell? Actually, twin spell, double witch bolt. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I feel like I shouldn't have 22 HP.
So, I'm all sorts of fucked up now. Like, I do have that cantrip. Why aren't you letting me do this?
What are you trying to do?
So, like, it's underneath the features now. And I need to choose 2 Eldritch Invocations, right? And the one I want to pick, or at least read about, says I need the Eldritch Blast cantrip, which I already did select. But it says prerequisite Eldritch Blast cantrip.
I'm gonna move your sheet around just for a second. Sorry if it's jarring.
It, by all means, so I can.
Yeah, you definitely have Eldritch Blast. So let's go back to the features. I assume you're looking at like Agonizing Blast?
Eldritch Spear right now. I want to know what it does.
It increases your range to 300 feet. I think that the red is just reminding you that you have to have it. I just selected Eldritch Spear. It didn't stop me.
Okay, yeah, I mean I'd have it too, and it's just when I see red, I'm just like,
Yeah, I
okay.
agree. That's off-putting, but there's no. Yeah, I think they just made a poor decision on how to display that. I think you're good. It's just I don't like. I agree with you. I don't like that red ink.
Wow, I need to click off this and go back. There we go.
So when I was
The things that you picked and the things that I picked were all on there, and I was like, I didn't pick
I'm
this many things.
So when I was choosing my feat, the feat said I had a prerequisite of Dex of 13 and my Dex is 19. I just click continue and it worked.
Looks like everything's coming at basics then.
But that
Do any
red
of you
text
have-
was there for me as well. That's what I was trying to.
Do any of you have the Raised Dead spell, or plan on getting it?
I don't think any of us.
It's a high level spell.
It's a high level spell.
Are any of you planning on getting it?
I mean, I probably will as a
Try.
necromancer.
Okay.
Poor
I've got
necromancer. that doesn't
try.
identify
I've
with
got
it.
a very interesting question.
Okay.
If I have a spell that can summon a shadow blade that I wield, and I have the cantrip Mage Hand. Can I use the Mage Hand to attack with my weapon?
I'd have to read Mage Hand. I thought that it couldn't be used in combat, but you're just trying to cobble together a poor man's spiritual weapon. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, but darkness, because it's specifically I have darkness, and it rolls for advantage on targets in darkness. But I don't want to be near him.
That does seem problematic, doesn't it? We'll have to look at Mage Hand. Give me a minute to finish up tokens.
Dax, which tradition are you going?
I'm deciding, but I'm
Okay.
leaning towards.
Never mind. This hand cannot attack.
I'm leaning towards between Sun Soul Kensei or Drunken Master.
Okay, yeah. That worked. Yeah.
I did your job. This hand cannot attack.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Given my monk's background, it's going to be way the open hand because it's really the only thing that works.
I was kind of going for Kensei because as a halfling and being small, my weapons are going to be the way to extend my reach, and mastering in the weapons, which is way of the Kensei, seems like a natural development for that. If I go with that logic.
There's a lot of really gross spells. This is hilarious.
Gross spells?
Ray of Sickness.
Yeah, I guess.
A ray of sickening greenish energy lashes out toward the creature.
That is not great.
Oh, no, it's not.
Thank you for reminding me to take that.
You're welcome.
And also
Dragon.
Ray of...
I love Dragon's Breath. That was fun.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Kensei.
What level's Firebolt? 3, right?
Cantrip. Firebolt's a cantrip.
No, Fireball.
Fireball is level 3.
Yeah, level 3.
Okay.
I think Animate Dead is also level 3.
I think it is. Sventies, what is your character's name?
Jezza.
That name sounds familiar. You've used that name before.
Lies.
Oh, that's creepy. Blindness, deafness?
I just picked that one as well.
Gonna pick it then. Jeez. It's a necromancy spell. Woo boy.
Yeah,
I just realized that with my sorcerer thing, I have necromancy spells.
necromancy spells are good at like really messing with someone.
Yeah. I like that. I'm taking that one.
And Fubarius, do you really want your hammer to be
No.
Okay.
If you just, I don't know if it's possible to pull the one out of my bio or not.
Oh yeah, let me take a look at that. I honestly have never tried.
Oh god, I need to use.
It lets me right click and save it,
weapons.
so I don't know if that was possible for anyone else.
Is that Val?
Oh, can you hear him?
Yeah.
League of Legends.
Not even once, man.
That's what I thought. That's okay.
Okay, why does it keep saying I'm going to be away of the Kensei monk? That is not what I chose.
Did you say Way of the Kensei monk? No.
So you said Way of the Kensei monk. No.
What are my Kensei weapons? I like this.
Adder's fun.
Okay, we're just gonna close Roll20. And we're gonna rejoin because the game just keeps trying to make me Kensei, and I don't know why.
It knows your heart's true desire.
She's too small. She can't even wield most weapons.
So here's a question for you, John. I'm on the ability score increase, where I can choose it for 10. So like if I'm at an 8 strength and I want to be 10, so I don't like have a deformity, I can just put the 2 into that, right?
Correct.
Why won't it let me apply a change?
This is really long. What is wrong with Phantasmal Force? Jesus Christ. Okay, that's why. You make people see things that aren't there, and they do damage. Fantastic.
Whose character is Petrichor?
Mine.
Isn't that the name of the rain smell?
Yep.
Yes.
Sure is.
Well done.
And the super good board game I just kickstarted. You play as clouds.
I love when you sell me stuff, though. You
God
play
damn
cloud.
it. Yeah. And the way you said it just came across so perfect. I love it. You're so funny. I really like the picture you found for your kobold as well.
Thank you. I like it too. I found like 5 really good wizard ones, and I was like, this is the most clericy of them.
Fitting.
There we go. Got it. I was trying to.
John, we were talking about feats, and you mentioned something healer related,
I did.
or is it actually just healer for feat?
There is a feat called Healer
Okay.
that lets you use the contents of a healer's kit to actually restore hit points, something that it by itself is not capable of doing.
Okay.
It's just one of those fun. If we were short on healing abilities and you were looking at playing up that sort of aspect of your character backstory, I thought it was a fun mention. I
Yes,
wasn't suggesting
I appreciate that suggestion, and I kind of want to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to get 15 HP and from leveling from 7 to 22? From 1 to 4? Did I do something wrong there?
No.
No, I have 30 HP and I started at 9.
Yeah, I have 31 and I started at 7.
Okay.
I cannot figure out why it won't let me save character sheet.
Did the
Confused.
progress bar get like 3/4 of the way and then stop?
No, it's just like it goes like I'm going through, I'm hitting like levels, good, features, good, ability score increase and all that. Changed it. Then I go to review, and then it just won't let me hit apply changes.
Is there something in review that's got you hung up?
There, it's blank.
You might be in the same unfortunate boat that X was in a moment ago. We are going to have to reload the
just
webpage.
reloaded, and it's the same.
Let me take a look.
So I'm a little confused. I don't know what I did wrong.
And what happens if you just cancel out of the review process?
Okay, let me. Yeah, I can discard and exit. I'll just do it again. Just start over.
How much did you lose by doing that? The level up
Uh,
shouldn't take too long, so hopefully.
yeah, it's probably basically the same. Just the normal.
Has anybody like just power churned and is already level 4 and done?
Yes.
I'm level 4
I'm-
and done.
I'm at the one where it says ability score and feats, and I don't know if I'm supposed to select both or just one or the other.
One or the other.
Yep.
One or the other. Okay.
Okay, there we go. It bugged out.
Okay.
We're good now.
Those of you who are done, I wanted to try to be wrapped up quickly here because I know it's late for some of the people on the other side of the country. I don't want to say the wrong side, but the opposite end.
The correct side.
I did it again. I'm sorry. Could you delete those?
How are you even doing that?
Yeah.
You can actually drag your picture bio and put it, place it down. I'm not doing that on purpose.
Well, it seems like you are because it keeps happening.
Wow.
There was 2 that time.
For the people that are done, you guys can start on gear since you guys are my more experienced players anyway. I'm going to give you guys 100 gold to buy mundane items, so additional clothes, tools, supplies. I think you can get a lesser healing potion for 50 gold. And then you may select one magic item of up to uncommon rarity. And like, I don't want to say like pending GM approval, but I'd like to at least see it before session 1. It doesn't have to happen tonight, but before session 1, I want to look at it and make sure that we didn't come up with something that's just totally bananas. But I can't imagine that that's going to be the case.
Where's the best place to get a copy of 5e Core Rulebook?
I have one on the shelf behind me. That's where I
like. Is there like a PDF or something I can download, or?
I'm sure there must be. I don't know.
Okay.
If anybody,
where are we able to shop for things? Like, how do you do that?
It's a little bit complicated, but if you look at the I, the lowercase I in the black circle, that's called the compendium in the upper right-hand corner. You can type most anything in there, and if you leave it blank, it'll show you basically all the things that exist in this game.
Yeah.
So I don't even need a core rulebook. Okay.
Right. You can go to items and just read through all of the items that are available. That will include everything magical, everything mundane, and it's going to be a long read if you do it that way. But if you can also just search it by keyword.
I guess that's where we're lost because I don't see what you're talking about.
In the upper right-hand corner, you should have like a chat bubble, and then a folded newspaper for journal. Just to the right of the journal should be a lowercase I and a black circle.
Oh, on that thing.
So
I was looking on my character sheet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, in roll 20 in the
So you're telling me I can't get demon armor?
I'm telling you, you probably can't start the game with demon armor. I think that's about unfair.
And you said uncommon rarity, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh god.
John, would it be reasonable if I'm going with the folk hero thing, considering my background, could I give up the animal handling proficiency and put it in medicine?
I'm fine with that. That seems fair. Just in case anybody's got to bail soon, I don't know what people's schedules are, and I don't know when stuff's gonna happen. And we've been at this for a while. Everybody's gonna get 100 gold for mundane items and 1 uncommon magic item. Again, no decision has to be made tonight. That's a lot of reading, a lot of research. I would ask that you have it prepared for session 1 in 2 weeks. I imagine we'll be doing a lot of talking back and forth on Discord between then and now. You can either put your questions in this Discord channel or at me if I haven't responded with questions. Also, I would like you guys to finish up your bios between now and that first game session and include a connection to an NPC in the world that you're creating and how you're connected to at least one player. And I would like that done as soon as possible because I have to start writing like our first session 1 story. And so I would like to know how we're all interconnected before too much later. So if you guys can try to prioritize that this weekend, that would be very helpful to me.
Cool.
And that way, I think I'm done now, just except to be here to field questions. So if anybody's got to bail or take off, I think the meat of tonight is done, and it was, I think, pretty damn successful.
Hey, Try.
Sir.
If I happen to have most of the books, which ones are the ones that have magic items in them again?
I think there are some in Xanathar's guide, the Dungeon Master's guide. I don't think there was anything in Volo's Guide to Monsters, but that's one of the books, and then Eberron. So probably just DMG, Eberron, and Xanathar.
Eberron's the only one I don't have.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention during the shop speak. Where do I do this?
In the Roll20 game, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a lowercase I in a black circle. That's your compendium. That contains everything that every rule that's supported by the game is in here. So you can search by keyword if you know what you're looking for, or in the event of shopping, you can just click on items and literally just kind of scroll through everything that's possible. I mean, I think a Google search is probably better. Like you can just look at D&D 5e uncommon magic items. There are tons of community and fan-generated sites that will show you like optimal builds for your character in D&D 5e, the top 5 uncommon magic items that every character needs to have. I think you should pick the one you like the best for whatever reasons you like it. But, you know, I hate scrolling through the tiny little compendium thing. So if you have access to another resource, it's probably going to be superior to this. But
cool. And then you said you're giving us 100 gold. Is that like you're trusting us to not spend more than 100 gold? Or do you want us to actually keep track? And
no, I think I'm giving you 100 gold to just spend in stuff. If you spend less, then keep the surplus, or the surplus, obviously. And if you're like at 102 gold, I don't really care. Like a little over is fine. But that's just to buy material components, ammunition, additional supplies, a tool. Like I think thieves' tools may actually be 100 gold by themselves. Or if you don't have anything like that to buy, then at 50 gold, I think gets you a potion of healing.
So my character already gave me a thieves' tool. So should I just delete all the items that I came with?
If you're no. The level 1 starting character wealth was just to get you basic equipment. Some people will need to subsidize that with additional purchases.
Oh, okay, got you.
So Wand of Magic Missile, you can use it indefinitely as long as you don't expend the charges. Interesting.
Yeah, what is it? 1d6 plus 1 at dawn?
Yep. Wand of the War Mage.
That one's pretty good too.
Whoa.
+1 to spell attack rolls and +1 to spell DCs.
While holding this wand, you gain a bonus to spell attack rolls determined by the wand's rarity. In addition, you ignore half cover when making a spell attack. What's that supposed to mean?
Can I do like a weapon instead of a magical item?
There's magical weapons.
Yeah, I guess that was my follow-up question. There are many magic items that are magic weapons, so yes. But if you, sorry, go ahead.
So like I have a light crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Can I change that light crossbow to something else that's uncommon?
Oh, you just want to say like a generic item for a generic item?
Yeah, like can I change that light crossbow to something else instead of getting a magical item? Because I got a shitload of spells already.
I think you're going to find there is much more use in having a magic item than there is a mundane crossbow equivalent. So if you just don't like your crossbow, I'm happy to let you trade your crossbow for a short bow or a sling or a quarterstaff or a dagger. That's fine with me. But I think you should also probably look at some...
Funny story, I have a dagger as well. So
nice.
Okay. I guess I'll just look through this, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, there's also just, if you just Google search, like Warlock 5e uncommon magic item suggestions, or just uncommon magic items in D&D 5e. There are lots.
I'm actually on a website now. It's dnd5e.info.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That has a bunch of all this, like you can click on stuff and it comes up. So
yeah, Tribality.com also does some pretty cool like top 5 lists.
Ooh.
I could see why you gave the character Pearl of Power. That's nifty. Fortunately, I never used it.
And then Cole and Dax, at some point, if you guys want to send me character art for tokens, I am standing by. But again, that doesn't happen. that can happen up to the day before session 1. So
I don't even know how to begin doing that. I'm
Yeah,
still trying to figure out this character building thing.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know what they look like until you're done building them.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Sure.
For saving throws, it automatically put strength and dex as a monk. Should it
Those
not
are the
be
ones you're
strength?
proficient.
Hmm?
I think those are the ones you're proficient with, right? Or
Is that proficiency as a monk?
Uh-oh.
Let me
Because
find out.
I thought it would be like dex and constitution, or
Actually, strength does seem strange, but
yeah, or
Well,
dex and wisdom, or
I don't know what I'm doing.
nope. Strength and dexterity are your saving throw proficiencies.
okay.
Oh fuck! I love Bag of Tricks.
Yeah, I got a fuzzy something. Now you deal with it.
Okay, so how do I know the value of an item?
Have you seen the robe of useful items?
That's
This
what I'm
is
looking at
nuts.
right now.
This thing is nuts.
Yeah.
I can roll a D100 and my patch becomes an iron door. Why?
Or it could be, you
A
know,
a riding horse
rowboat.
with
It could be a
saddlebag.
rowboat.
Yeah.
I'm on a boat.
It's like, what do I need?
You could pull off a patch and it could be a riding horse with saddlebags.
Yeah, and then you can just have that forever.
But what if you rip off the patch and all the water rushes out of your body?
Oh no.
That's
we
not
can
a
get
thing.
one uncommon item.
That's not a thing.
Yes, a one uncommon magic item.
But when you run out of
And is that
patches, it is no
Something
longer
we spend our
useful.
gold on.
Well, I mean, it's just a
No,
robe.
gold is just for mundane stuff, basics.
Live, it also does say the
Oh,
GM
okay,
chooses
sorry.
the patches or determines them randomly. So he could
Oh,
choose one of them,
shit.
pull it off, and it just water all rushes out of your body.
Mhm.
You could do that.
This is
That'd be so
frustrating,
bad.
man. So like
There's
this one says I should get this item, but it's not in this thing. It's in the ass.
So, how do I add this? I'm just gonna get that wand of the
So
War
if you can
Mage.
find it in the compendium, you should be able to literally just drag it from the compendium onto your character sheet, and the whole screen will go white, and it will say "adding from compendium," and just release it, and then it will add it to your character sheet.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm just not finding it in this one page, but let's try this.
Oh, what are you trying to find, X?
Rod of the Pact Keeper.
Oh, weird. I don't see it
Anyone know?
either.
Oh.
It could be from a source that we're not using.
Try
Yes.
the compendium, the wand of the War Mage 3. It says its item rarity is standard.
It's standard.
It's not right. I know it's not right, but it's not up. It's not upgrading the item
Hold
rarity.
on. Let me figure out Rod of the Pact. Oh, because Rod of the Pact Keeper, I think, comes from the Mines of Phandelver thing.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't seem right though, does it? Give me just 1 second, X.
You're fine. Just when I look, that's what everyone's saying that you should get.
Actually, Pearl of Power, so I can not deal with this. What? Ring of Spell Storing? Is that a thing?
It is a thing. Not for you, but it's definitely a thing.
Level is
Oh, that's cool.
So
Oh, it's rare. That's why.
You found information on the War Mage wand?
No. It's what it is the rarity goes up. The amount it's worth is so like +1 is uncommon, +2 is rare, and +3 is very rare. But your compendium only has it as standard.
Yeah, it's the +1 is uncommon for certain.
Correct. You are correct. But I'm just gonna go with Pearl of Power because that's just smarter.
Nice. So X, getting back to your pact, it is indeed from it's like a pre-made adventure called The Lost Mines of Phandelver.
Okay.
I can't import it. The Wand of the War Mage is very similar. If you're looking just to improve your spell attack rolls, it does not have the component of recurring a warlock spell, but you get your spells back more regularly than most other casters anyway.
Yeah. So you said the War Mage is pretty much similar?
It's basically the same thing in terms of what's allowed in the books we've got.
I've decided to take a Stone of Good Luck.
Nice.
I almost was thinking about that too.
Seems pretty good.
Do
That's
I
gonna be
like? Is it 1, 2, or 3? Do I pick for the Wand of the War Mage, John?
It's a +1. That's the
Okay.
way they did win it uncommon rarity.
I'm just gonna say it. That's gonna be a fun spell to use.
So it looks like I already have 15 gold in my inventory. Do I just add an extra 100 to that?
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever the level 1 starting equipment gave you.
Okay.
Just get 100 on top of that to spend on this, that, and the other.
So I dragged it over, but I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Let me pull up your sheet and take a peek. Sneaky Pete. It did not add. Do you mind if I try?
Yeah, go ahead. I probably dropped it in the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's there now. It's at the bottom of the items list, and if you look at your attacks and spellcasting, all of your spells went up by 1. So
okay.
Now +6 to hit.
Roger that.
Yeah, buddy.
Cool.
Whoops. I didn't mean to hit that. I'm sorry.
Oh, and it's a critical miss.
Oh, well, I guess I'll roll damage
game's
anyway.
over for you.
Rip.
That just does a lot of damage. That's nuts. Anyway, sorry, I'll just stop rolling damage.
A small part of me wants to take Bag of Tricks and see if I can also retexture it.
To just be a bunch of undead critters.
Yes.
I think that's fun.
Okay. I can have it like they look undead but not count as undead, so it's not like breaking.
Yeah, I don't think it would change anything, but I would hate to be in that circumstance where it's like, oh, undead creatures are just amazing in this example, and then the Bag of Tricks is unbalanced. Yeah, if you don't mind it just being like I pull out an undead elk, then I'm very much on board for that.
Okay, yeah. I think I'll just do that and have a Bag of Tricks.
Yep.
I don't know
I'll
what I'm
figure out
buying.
which color I want.
Just a Halloween sack with tricks or treats, and treats has been crossed out.
Basically.
Bag of Tricks.
Would it be useless to have a donkey or mule in this situation?
I would never say it's useless. I mean, also consider that we don't have many like very strong characters, so just having something that can, carry pack weight over, over landed distances is not bad. And then there's always you don't have to run faster than the bear, you just have to run faster than the mule.
Fair enough. Would a cart be something that you would pull yourself, or would it could a mule or donkey pull that?
Both. There are like person pullable carts, like a small vegetable cart. But I assume that they're probably talking about one that would be pulled by some kind of beast.
Okay. Does anyone want to go in on getting a carriage and mule?
I think that's a reasonable. How much is it?
A carriage would be 100 gold.
Yeah, I mean, I'll split half with you on that one.
Sweet. And then mules are like 8 gold, so I'll just get, I don't know, 2 of them.
Where do you see the price of these things?
I'm on that D&D 5e info website.
Oh, okay.
And I just went to equipment, and I'm just under the mounts and vehicles right now.
Huh.
Alternatively, if anyone else wants to pitch in, we can get an elephant for 200 gold
Why would we need an elephant?
to pull our carriage.
Because it's bigger than a mule.
Oh my god.
We could
Do
get
you
an
deny,
elephant.
sir,
We
that
could
it's
get an
bigger than a
elephant to
mule?
pull our carriage. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. I'm just saying we could show John right now that we have some really good teamwork, and we bought an elephant together.
We bought a zoo. All right, I'm ears off for just 1 second, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm getting the carriage at least. Carriage and a donkey.
Cool. Who was the other urchin? Is there another urchin?
There's at least 2. There's me and Lav.
Oh, so there's 3 because there's me as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Look at that cloak of Arachnida. That's kind of cool.
Carriage doesn't pop up in the thing.
My flaw is it's not stealing if I need it more than someone else.
Oh, Cole, you wanted to do poison stuff, right?
Yes, alchemy and such.
There is also a poisoner's kit, so that might also be up your alley too.
Check it out. Thank you. There's so many.
That's good to know.
There's so much shit. Like I don't know what I need. I don't really need anything.
Oh my god.
All you need is a 10-foot pole.
Clearly.
That almost turned out bad. I almost turned my character into a mule.
No.
You can get a mastiff as a pet.
You sure can.
As a mount, I'm sorry, as a mount.
Well, can you get it as a mount?
As a halfling.
Or as a 3-foot kobold.
Because it says mounts and other animals, so I'm assuming a mastiff would be under other animals.
It's on the Roll20.net website. It's
Oh, is it
showing
really?
yeah, under mounts.
Okay.
Well, it says mounts and other animals, but it's one entire category for the 2.
Fair enough.
Like it has a horse draft, and then there's a horse riding for each.
That's
And,
true. Is there
so-
a massive riding as well?
It just says mastiff. So
Huh.
I assume it's a mount because it says camel and then pony and warhorse. Like I assume you can ride those as well.
I'm assuming if you're a kobold, you can definitely ride a mastiff.
Dude.
You can, if you're small, you can ride anything that is of medium size or higher as a mount.
I am smaller
it.
size, yeah.
Get
Oh,
it.
dang. You can ride a dwarf as a mount.
Hell yeah.
I am strong enough. I could throw you across the field.
And I can curl into a little ball, especially because that's like my proficiency.
Nice. I once played a campaign where I had one of my party members was a dwarf barbarian, similar to what I'm playing, but he was raised by armadillos, and so he was really good at rolling into a ball. And since it was a pirate campaign, we would shoot him out of our cannon at the opposing ships, and he would just rage on the ship deck.
God, that's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, you as a half dwarf should definitely be able to throw my tiny little body.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to spend my money on.
I'm just saying, you could go in on an elephant, and then the elephant could throw you.
Dude, its capacity is 1,300 pounds. Is that like a carrying capacity?
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I feel like since I have proficiency in disguise kit and thieves tools, I should get both of those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, we would need animal feed. 5 copper pieces, so
I mean, or 1 kobold.
Or 1 kobold.
Okay.
I'm not seeing animals or like a carriage in the compendium or whatever it's called.
Probably just have to add it yourself.
Yeah, how would I add that to I mean like I want to add a carriage to item.
There's a little plus button at the bottom of your item list, and at that point you can customize everything.
Okay.
And I'm sure you'd probably just want to follow what the Roll20.net has for like its weight and stuff.
Oh, you are right. I don't actually start with the disguise kit and thieves tools, do I?
But that's a weird thing because you probably don't want it over encumbering your weight because it's going to be on the ground, right? How is that going to be like would the carriage be like its own NPC?
Yeah, I think you would probably want to list it separately, either as its own NPC or just as a handout. I can make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take that off my list then.
So I can go in on the carriage with you.
Yeah, sure.
Wait, does that mean I get more gold then?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll split it 3 ways.
3 ways.
Right.
200 gold 3 ways is what? 60.
33.3.
No, 200 gold.
It's 100 gold for a carriage.
Yeah, and then 100 gold for what were you gonna get?
I was gonna get a donkey, but a donkey's only 8 gold.
GP. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
108
100.
divided by 3. Something.
Something.
Give me a second.
36.
I don't do numbers anymore.
Something like that, John.
36.
36. Everyone spends 36 gold on that. Nice. Well, by everyone I mean 3 of us. Because the rest of you are useless.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm just trying to buy the tools that I need here, okay? All right, disguise kit
You were a
is
tool.
25.
Got him.
I said no such thing. What? The fuck? All right, Try. I have a question for you.
Go.
36 gold deducted.
What do you know of a way to make athletics scale off dexterity and not strength?
You put in acrobatics. The same thing, but for dexterity.
They're basically the same thing.
Essentially.
So, in many circumstances, they're entirely interchangeable. The rare exceptions would be like something like climbing a rope is not ever going to be acrobatics. It's always going to be athletics, and I think that's fair. I don't think you can really overcome upper body strength by being more dexterous. But for most other applications, there is an argument where acrobatics and athletics are interchangeable for jumping across a chasm using like a parkour wall run or just a standing leap, or tight wire walking, or even getting out of a grapple can be opposed by an acrobatics check. So I think that's probably the cleanest way to do it.
Okay.
So would you ask at that point? Would you just be like roll whatever's highest?
In the case of a grapple, it's literally RAW, as they say. You oppose it with either your acrobatics check or athletics, whichever is superior.
Cool.
I feel like I should also get a light crossbow.
I feel like I should get a shovel.
Character's getting pretty dastardly. I chose the boots of elven kind, John.
Nice.
But can my character even wear boots?
Do you have feet?
I have feet, but they're like, claws.
Yes, you can wear boots. There's an old facet. I don't remember what edition of the game it came in, but there was like a most magical items that were created in the world like adjust to accommodate the size of the being that's recently acquired them. In this edition, it's called attuning to them. So if you attune to the boots, they accommodate your two-toed, fanged, or clawed feet. And then if you were to take them off and somebody else attuned to them, it would become like normal human boots.
And my attunement just me, just like be me, like bursting my feet through the soles.
Yes. defeats
So
these
does the gold to silver to copper ratio the same as in WoW?
10. Yes. 10 copper is 1 silver. 10 silver is 1 gold.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was wrong.
So there's 8 of us players? 9 of us?
9. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna buy 9 bars of soap. You're welcome.
Oh my god, this guy. Listen, like
9
I won't
bars
need
of
it.
soap.
I have my own natural musk coming off my
Hey.
scoots. So.
My soap better be scented lavender.
Hold on one second. Someone's trying to get a hold of me. Go ahead.
Is rations or like food actually something we will have to care about at all?
I don't. So there's 2 circumstances that I care about it. I like to use the monthly upkeep system where your food rations, like your backpack, will always have 5 days of trail rations in them. In that, at the beginning of each month, I'll essentially tax the characters, and that covers those kind of blanket expenses. The only time I would actually care about it is in a like wilderness survival situation where we've been away from a town or centralized hub for a long enough period of time that you would realistically have eaten through those rations, and then it might be a matter of sending the ranger or somebody with survival to go procure food. But that's pretty simple in this edition of the game. So the easy answer is almost never, and the real answer is yes, still probably almost never.
Okay.
Zell, do you mind if we just talk?
That was me. He sent the message, unless Zell sent one as well.
I have one from each of you.
Would it be cool if I bounced a head out for now?
Say that again?
Would it be all right if I like take off while you guys are still doing this?
For sure.
Yeah, it's just getting a little late. So
Absolutely. Like I said, just come up with the one PC that how you're related to one person in the party and how you're related to one NPC in the world sooner rather than later, and the rest of it can wait until 2 weeks from now.
sounds good.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right,
Zach.
see you guys.
Have a good night.
See ya.
So yeah.
See ya.
No. So the I think maybe it got missed the first time. Dex for not just for Dex, for everybody. If you have the proficiency, the ability to use a kit or tool, you do not gain that kit or tool in your inventory unless you got to choose it from the level 1 starting equipment. In most cases, that is not true. So if you have proficiency with, for example, thieves' tools, you will have to buy the thieves' tools. You don't just get them by virtue of having proficiency in them.
Got
Same
it.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think I actually got to choose everything from the level 1 starting equipment yet, because I skipped stuff to get past that.
Sure. Some lesser things are things you can grab from the drop-down menu. Others are just going to have to be purchased.
Okay.
Zell, are you
Wow.
around? You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, Zell's not in Discord.
Oh, when did he leave? I didn't even hear the ding.
I think he just left then, because I think X left, and then I think I heard one other person leave.
Yo, I can use charisma as my attribute for the thieves tools. Lol. That's funny.
I don't know how to go back and look at that level 1 shit.
So who did I go in with the carriage with? Character names? Kel and Kig?
What's up?
What?
I went in with you guys on the carriage.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Do you guys want to say that I picked you guys up traveling? And that's how we know each other?
Oh. Maybe. I
'Cause
figured
I'm basically just like a traveling smith is what I'm kind of my story.
huh.
So I have a thing going with Zell, but I think I can also include that.
We can have him in there as well.
I was also thinking of having something with either Sventes or Vander, because we are all urchins, I assume, from the same city.
One would make that assumption.
Damn,
yes.
how about I just adopted you all like as urchins?
Oh Jesus!
Like I just I just
That
like
does
I'm
not
just I'm
fit
just
with
this
my
I'm just
backstory
this
at all,
hardy
but-
blacksmith who travels from city to city. I'm just picking up urchins on the way.
Like,
oh, you look starving. Come with us.
We don't also necessarily have to have a bond because we win in on it. It could just be that I had less gold and you had more. Also,
fair enough. I was just thinking of a way to do a relation.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm gonna write my bio later. I'm
John
gonna go
said
to
at
bed, guys.
least one. So.
Good night.
Good night, Lavander.